All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Mega ZardX here. Back at it again to give y'all another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 86. And gosh, by golly, Steven, some things have happened this week that kind of shook up the game industry quite a bit. Well, like there's some things in terms like the Xbox versus PlayStation stuff, and that kind of all centered around Indiana Jones. We also had opening night live for Gamescon and stuff. So we're going to briefly talk about it, but one of the topics within there is a little more heavier than the other, though. We also had a Nintendo Direct this week, or past week, should I say. However, it's not the direct that everybody wanted to and expect. It's based on a museum, not necessarily about games, but I found it to be pretty cool. So we got to talk about that as well. Oh shoot, Concord. Oh, that's all I'm gonna say now. We get man, that's an ugly pill to swallow. Like it's like one of the medicine pills that just tastes absolutely nasty. Man, like that
Yeah,
nasty cough medicine syrup that you used to have as a kid. Oh shoot, we'll talk about that. And then we'll get into some of our pop culture stuff though. But Steven, how's it going, man?
it's going good. I don't you just made me think about taking pills and I'm nauseous.
Oh no, man.
Every
Pills are
time.
okay. Well, no, let's specify a little bit. Medicine pills are okay because they don't really taste like nothing. It's like the old cough syrup medicine stuff. That was
Oh, it's
disgusting
yeah.
stuff.
Listen, I actually like liquid a lot more, especially if it's like fruit flavored. My issue with pills is actually digesting them. For some reason, once they're stuck onto my tongue, like once it hits my tongue, my body doesn't want to, like I guess it's gag reflex. I can't
You don't
actually
swallow that down
swallow
with
it.
like a cup of water or something?
I try doing it, but I have to like bite it in half first.
Oh gosh, no, you ain't
It's
supposed to
the
bite
well,
the
it's
pill.
I know, but it's the only no, just getting cutting it in half is the only way to actually get it down my throat without making me choke. I don't know. I'm bad with pills,
Oh
so
gosh.
maybe
All right.
I probably won't. Probably won't like Concord. All right, we'll get into it.
Oh goodness, that's funny right there though. No, but before we were even hopping on the show and stuff, like literally the moments before the show went live, I don't know about you, Steven, but I like my competitive play and stuff. I didn't necessarily have it as like a news topic, but I figured I'll squeeze it in now before we can get to the pop culture segment stuff. But I was going through and watching the Nintendo versus competitions they've been having throughout the weekend. So they did one for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Saturday, and then they turned around and did the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate one today. I watched all the Mario Kart stuff. I got partway through the Smash Bros. I'm not all the way through, but I don't know about you, but I always love watching competitive stuff. Just seeing the way how they do like shortcuts and stuff in Mario Kart and stuff. Like that one where they racing down DK Jungle and they drift so far around where they skip a whole entire loop or something like that, or like the big blue parts where it's like you
Wait,
take
DK Summit? You
yeah,
mean?
DK Summit. That's the one I was talking about. That or like Big
Yeah.
Blue, and they hop off and skip a couple of lanes or something like that. It's always cool seeing
Yes.
that stuff in action. I always love that mess.
The DK Summit one I love because that was in Mario Kart Wii, and it's much easier in 8.
Yeah, no, because I couldn't be doing that back in that other game. That would have been too rough for me, at least for me
Well,
personally.
the issue in Wii is that you need a very specific angle, and it's much easier with bikes, like everything else in Wii. But in 8, as long as you slow down and you drift into it well, you're fine, and then you just run off the other one. But yeah, that must have been fun. For Smash, what were the characters looking like in the top? Out of curiosity.
All right, so far I only watched like the first. I was barely 10 minutes. So like like I saw the first matchup with a couple of people. It was like one person that was using Terry, the other one was using Pete. And
Okay.
actually, you know what? That was the only match I saw thus far. And then I looked at my watch. I was like, "Oh shoot, it's time to start the show, though." Like, I hate Peach users. I just don't like fighting those users. I like Terry Bogard is cool with the whole go meter and stuff. He's a cool character to use and stuff if you know how to use him right. But Peach is just so annoying with her mid air game. Ugh, yeah, disgusting to me. Ooh. But outside of that, I do like the commentators they brought on for some of the things. Jordan Kent is like one of my favorite announcers in terms of like esports. He covers all the Nintendo stuff. EE was doing the Smash Brothers one. Vicky Kitty is back doing the Smash Brothers stuff. So I always like seeing the games come up, and they always manage to pop up quite a bit of different puns and stuff, depending on whatever the situation is going on in the game, and then tying it to like reality and stuff. and such like that though. So I always love their little commentating moments and stuff like that. Man, it really makes me want to commentate actual like competitive moments or just within games in general though. It's kind of funny because sometimes I do that in our Discord VC whenever y'all happen to be playing. It's been a while since I've done that, like a hot minute
Yeah.
though. But I always like doing that little bit of stuff. But no, that's just what I've been up to. You done anything cool this week?
I have been we'll get into it in the what we've been playing. I've been going to work mostly, but I am preparing for a cruise that I am going on for the next week. So conveniently it lines up with not being on one of the podcast weeks.
Yeah, you caught it perfectly in the off week though. So where you going? Where were you going out to? Was it like the
So we're going to Bermuda.
oh, the Bermuda? Oh shoot,
Yeah.
Pacific Coast.
What?
The heck?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know where Bermuda is, honestly. Let me check. But we're going to New York City and leaving from there, so we're taking a train in the morning. Bermuda on Google Maps, where
Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of something different. No,
you're
no.
probably thinking of the Bermuda Triangle,
That's
which
when
is
you said that. I literally was thinking that. I was like, oh shoot, I'm about to lose a co-host on this show. Oh dear,
no
no, not. I was
Bermuda.
thinking the wrong one.
No, Bermuda's like way out in the North Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, you're heading that way. I've been on a cruise before. I went down towards like Jamaica, Grand Cayman Islands, Cozumel, Mexico. But that's the cruise I did like several years ago. And that's like the biggest extent of me leaving the country outside of going up to Canada. And that's the farthest I've been.
Yeah, I've technically passed into Canada.
I mean, that makes
Technically.
sense. You're already in New York. You're like right next to the border almost up that
Yeah,
way.
for like a second I passed into Canada.
Mm,
That's like basically the only time I ever left the country.
I got you. All right. Well, now that we got all the introductions out of the way, we might as well get this show on the road. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into our pop culture segment. All right. So, normally I like to start things off with a bang. Start it off with a little bit of fire, a little spicy. Just trying to get up in it though. But we do have to backpedal a little bit though, because as sometimes you might have within a pop culture segment, you may get hit with some unfortunate news though. And unfortunately, that is the case with this one announcement right here. Because unfortunately, the voice actor that's usually behind Misty, as well as like Jigglypuff, if you think back to the original Pokemon series though, and most commonly as Jessie from Team Rocket, has unfortunately passed away. Rachael Lillis, who's like the voice actor of, all those different characters and stuff. And obviously, she's probably been known for a lot of other characters she's done within her voice acting career, though. It's just really unfortunate, though. She died at the age of 46. When you're thinking about like a person's life, that is fairly young. And it was all due to thanks to her battling against cancer, unfortunately, though. So I was like, I had to at least throw some respect on her name because in terms of like some of the very first shows I might have watched, especially when in my anime career when it was mostly only Pokemon and Dragon Ball, I mean she was there voicing all these characters I known and appreciated throughout all these series though. I'm not sure how big of a Pokemon anime fan you are, Steven, or if you've heard her voice acting works within a lot of these different shows though. But at least for me, I just have to pay respects where respect is due.
Yeah, no, obviously Jessie is iconic. Misty is a very, staple character of the original anime. Misty is very intentionally annoying and, you know, but like in a fun way. Ash stealing her bike is still really funny.
Yeah. No,
Um,
because if you know the character is supposed to be annoying and they get you to feel like that, at least you know they did their job.
well,
Because
yeah, I
like, there's a
like
lot of
when
characters that kind of go with the flow, and it's like you don't really resonate. Like you don't love or you don't hate them. If there's a character in a show that you don't love or hate, then either the writing was just done poorly, or maybe the performance, or a combination of the two. But it wasn't the case with her.
Well, yeah, I like when the other characters get annoyed by the annoying character. If it's just the audience getting annoyed, then it's boring. but like Ash like goes back and forth with her sometimes. It's great. Her as Jessie is fantastic. She does great as just like the just the basic like overly goofy villain. And her as Jigglypuff, like, what can I say? She does good as she did great as Jigglypuff. Uh I will say I was like looking at the IMDb page. She played Jigglypuff up until 2015
Dang, that's a long
compared
run.
to how long she played Jessie, which yeah, she played Jessie for less time, obviously. I'm trying
Hmm.
to find the exact details. Up until season 8, she played Jessie. And then Jigglypuff she played up until season 18 in the anime, which yeah, was X and Y.
Yeah.
So she was involved in this for a while. So she voiced Jigglypuff in Smash, obviously.
Hmm. No,
It's
yes,
it
she.
it is sad, honestly, to see someone that like a lot of people's childhoods were shaped around characters like hers.
Yeah, that is true. But one little, if you, I guess you can call it silver lining, like there's something positive you can kind of almost see out of this situation. At least she was able to see her character sunset within the anime, like because like Pokemon series. At least if you think about Ash Ketchum, James, and Jesse, who've been there from like season one all the way up until like Ash had his final concluding moments in like the most recent one before now they started off with like the Generation 9 anime or whatever though. At least you got to see Jesse's character conclude and sunset and just was able to sit on the side of the hill and let her arc close. Because there's not a
Yeah,
lot of voice actors that might be able to get up to that point if they have a very long running character. Even if they play like part of the voice acting journey for that character, even though they kind of switch out voice actors every now and then, at least she got to see her work done and concluded before her life happened to end. So I guess that's like maybe the one of the positive things to look out of this situation. Granted, it's still unfortunate to see her go.
yeah. She was 46. That sucks.
Yeah, because you think most people in their minds think 60 plus is
Well,
whenever
yeah.
somebody might pick the bucket at that point. But 40, that's still relatively young.
That's like, worst case scenario, that's like 3 quarters. That's still a whole nother quarter. A whole nother quarter of your life is a lot. Like most of our childhoods are gonna be a quarter of our life. The times that we remember the best, our childhoods, the times that we have the most nostalgia for, are gonna be a fraction of our life. Like a lot can be done in that time.
Yeah.
It sucks, honestly. And she will definitely be remembered for her roles at least. People, it's not like the original anime is going anywhere. Pokemon with their nostalgia peddling, they're gonna constantly rerun that shit till the end of time.
Which is kind of interesting now that you mention that because like the classic series and stuff, like they used to have a thing called like Pokemon TV, which was like an app you had on your phone and allowed you to watch almost like every past season of anime, and they put certain episodes on rotation. I don't even think that's a thing anymore. And it's
It's
so
not.
weird way how they divided out all the different seasons where you have to go to watch Netflix for some of these, Hulu to watch some of these other. It's not all in like one source anymore, which you think with Pokemon Company and the money they have, you think they would have something kind of in the works for it though. But it was just weird how
I
you brought that up. But I was just gonna throw it out there.
I found it, Zard. I found the official chart on Pokemon's website on how to watch the anime.
Oh
You
shit,
want to
what
hear
does it
it?
say? What does it say?
For Netflix, for season 1, you go to Netflix. You switch over to season 2 on Prime Video. And then seasons 3 and 5 are also there. Then you switch to, where is it? Trying to find where 4 through 6 are. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you switch to Prime Video for seasons 3 to 5, Root Gold and Silver. Seasons 6 through 9 are also on Prime Video actually. But they're also on Hoopla and Freevee. Then for seasons 10 through 13, Diamond and Pearl, they're also on Prime Video in like a separate spot. But some of these, by the way, some of these are only on specific channels and not on demand. Like they're not just available to watch any episode. some of these you have to catch like live. There's only select movies on Netflix that Prime Video doesn't have, vice versa. And then there's a bunch of other BS. Um, how most of it is on Prime Video. Then for Sun and Moon, you have to switch over. Black and White is only on Black and White is only on certain streaming services. Then you have to switch back to Netflix for Pokemon Journeys and then Pokemon Horizons.
Good night.
It used to be a lot worse. There was a lot less seasons on Prime Video in the past.
Ugh, that, that
And then
that
and
that
then
that's just really
YouTube,
dumb.
yeah, and then YouTube has all the short films. Paldean Winds, Hisuian Snow, Twilight Wings, Evolutions, Generations, all of those are just on YouTube.
Ooh, oh my goodness.
So,
Yeah, that
as annoying as they make it to watch, people will be able to remember, the memories that she basically like created. Like Jessie especially. Jessie, Misty, those characters people love. And people
yeah.
will associate them with those voices. People remember Gen 1, Gen 1 got Pokemon got big in the West or just in general because of the anime.
Yeah,
Like
so if you were to pull two things from this whole thing, number one, Pokemon Company, fix your own mess, so we can go back and watch these things much more easily. Especially for those that want to go back and just see her roles done in some of these past seasons in a
yeah.
proper manner where they don't have to jump all over the place. Fix that mess though. But then thing number two, and most importantly, to all of the friends and family that's associated with Rachel Lillis, rest in peace. And I know the times are tough though, but just prayers, thoughts, and all your concerns and stuff for families and friends that are associated with her, just kind of going through this tough times. My heart goes out there to all y'all out there. Whew. All righty, Steven. Any more thoughts or reflections on her?
Nah, rest in peace, obviously. Sucks on.
All righty. Well, now we paid our contributions, and now it's almost time to move on over to. Wait, what the heck? All righty, Steven. So apparently there was some breaking news today, and literally you talked about it, and also one of my other friends happened to text me about it and said, yeah, some I don't know how you want to exactly word this, but basically like some footage or some information kind of leak for the Sonic 3 movie. So everybody and their mama's basically looking over there at, is it Paramount? Paramount that's responsible for whoever's responsible
Yes.
for the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. We're probably expecting some kind of Sonic 3 trailer to drop out sometime this week.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming with this goddamn movie. I don't know if you've seen all of the BS that they've been pulling where people have been expecting a trailer for months. We got multiple different leaks about the movie. We got the toys are in stores right now. You can buy an action figure of Shadow from the movie in stores right now.
And that's
I
wild.
I seen one. I seen Sonic movie socks. I seen a pair of Shadow socks from the Sonic 3 movie in my local like Kohl's.
And
Like this movie, it wasn't delayed obviously, but my god, the marketing push has been taking way too long, and people are starting to kind of just get more annoyed than anything because people have constantly been just waiting. "Well, where's the trailer, where's the trailer, we want to see the trailer," and they've been teasing and teasing. And then the fact that they kind of teased it today, but Hollywood Report already did leak that Keanu Reeves was going to be Shadow.
yeah, at least that's still confirmed. I think that's still going to hold up. And even Apollo, who mentioned in the chat, he said the Sonic and Shadow Whopper from Burger King has also been leaked. I'm like, wait a minute. I hadn't been
No,
to Burger King in a hot minute, even
that's
if that were
fake.
to be true. Or maybe it's fake. I don't know. But,
It is. It uses a completely different Burger King logo.
oh, really? So you saw that one on Twitter.
Yes, it's stupid. It being called the Sonic X Shadow Whopper is even stupider.
Oh, good gracious. Man, I hadn't been to a Burger King in a hot minute though, but it's crazy how they still technically do little collaborations and stuff. Like I remember they used to do that mess all the time with movies and shows and games all the time, or having the toys up in the packages and stuff like that. Man, oh man, that's a long era, long lost era by now though. But what was all the stuff that you saw? Because somehow this stuff has not even managed to get in my feed. I had to hear about it from other people, and I don't know if Paramount was going around striking stuff or trying to remove things here and there though. But I don't know. People, I mean, the internet's obviously never gonna forget. But yeah. Oh, I think I see. Oh, okay. I think I see that burger. That the one that you were looking at earlier. But was there anything else you noticed?
No, well, the fact that, people have constantly been saying, "Where's the trailer?" Oh, people, quote unquote leakers have been like, rumors are suggesting, my sources say that the trailer will be coming this week, or it will be premiering after this Paramount movie, and nothing, absolutely nothing for the longest time. And finally, basically all of the insiders have agreed, yeah, the trailer's coming Tuesday, and the official Sonic movie account is retweeting stuff about it. So it's, yeah, the trailer's coming soon. Whether it's Tuesday or tomorrow, I have reason to believe that it's gonna be tomorrow because of the other thing I kind of wanted to mention while we're in a breaking news thing. Um, have you heard the imminent rumors of a Nintendo Direct possibly being at the end of August?
I heard about that. I heard about that mess too, and I guess honestly now would be the other good time to kind of squeeze this thing up in there as well. Which it wouldn't surprise me considering how we know we have another console coming up on the distant horizon. So normally we would usually expect to have the general direct in the month of September, but considering how we know there's another game come or not game, we know that there's another system coming out here soon. Ideally, it's going to drop out some point in 2025. And in terms of like Nintendo first party games, the last, well, I wouldn't even say that. Well, the last one we know and a concrete date for would be DKC returns. That drops out in January. Then obviously there's Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4, but those are like some point in 2025. We don't know the actual time for. So it's like, yeah, we know we're only going to get so many more Switch games. I wouldn't have been surprised if the direct we would have gotten in September would have been a partner showcase, or it could have been a mini. It's been a long time since we had a mini direct. I wasn't expecting anything big or maybe possibly a general Nintendo direct in September. But if it happens to drop out in August, hey, that wouldn't shock me at all, really.
Yeah, at least for me, I seen people saying that, oh, they're doing it in August because they're making time for the Switch 2 reveal in September. No, that's not what they're doing. It makes a lot of sense for there to be for them to not skip the September direct because you got to show more details, more overview stuff on Mario and Luigi Brothership. 'Cause that's really only going to get like one more trailer after this. So show a bit more previews of Mario and Luigi. Maybe a demo or something would be cool. Show more details on Mario Party, hopefully actually outlining which modes are online and which ones aren't. Definitely do some more NSO games. I want Smash 64 with online so I could go back and see how much better it is than Ultimate's online. I I'm not saying that a direct is needed, but it certainly would make sense. Like we already have a stacked end of the year. What else could they possibly throw in there? Only thing I could think of is like Wind Waker HD or something in like December. I don't know.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past them if it's basically like one of those directs where it's like it's very safe. If there is something new, they could put one thing out there. Shoot, they could have talked. They could announce a Kirby game or something like that, or something that's low
I
budget on the eShop
I
or something, and then basically just kind of give you updates of everything else to expect for the
you know
holiday season from September to November.
no, that is a good point actually, Zard. You mentioned that, and it was on my mind before we started talking about this, but you brought it up. Kirby game will definitely happen. No,
Because we
I
hadn't had one this
completely
year.
think about it like this. Triple Deluxe 2013, Planet Robobot 2016, Star Allies, which is very similar to Planet Robobot, probably took less dev time, 2018. Then you had Forgotten Land, which was a fully 3D game, needed a bit more dev time. That was 2022. If they're just building off of Forgotten Land, going off of the pattern, doing a completely new game in the Forgotten Land engine, 2025 will be the next mainline Kirby game. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that in terms of the
And
timeline, how quick they pump them out. But
yeah, and
yeah,
Kirby usually releases early, but like at the same time, Kirby's obviously not going to be something that releases on next gen. That's something you release at the end of the life of the system, and then people will play it, maybe, give it enhancements on next gen. But that's obviously something that you could use to fill out that early year while people are just waiting for Switch 2. And, Kirby and the Forgotten Land sold really well. It would make sense for them to immediately start working on the next game. And not to mention, I would very much like a new Kirby game. Forgotten Land is one of my favorite Switch games.
yeah, I think we're
Um,
long overdue for one.
I think that's my main prediction, honestly. That's like something that will open a direct is a Kirby game.
Yeah,
Now the better question, Nintendo has never done this. What do you think the chances are that they just show the Switch 2 in a direct?
no,
Like
no, no, no,
have
no, no.
like
Let's
no
go ahead.
that
Let's go ahead and
okay.
keep the record straight and clean. All right. On my
All right.
show, I try to temper everybody's expectations. Do not,
Fine.
and I mean, do not expect them to talk about hardware within a Nintendo Direct. They have never done that in the past. I don't expect them to do it anytime soon. If
All
anything,
right.
that's like one of their common Twitter trailer drops, maybe also a YouTube. Well, not obvious, not probably. It would be also a
I know.
YouTube trailer, and they would separate those things. And I think for sure they're trying to get one last good holiday season out of the Nintendo Switch, as this will probably be its last time on the market as the only Nintendo console that they're actively selling before
Yeah.
the Switch 2 will come out on the market.
I totally get you. So, on that note, no, not talking about hardware. We're gonna get Mario Kart 9. We're gonna get Smash 6. We're gonna get Pikmin 5. All those games
Oh
in the
no,
next
no, no, no.
Nintendo
Hold on.
Direct.
I don't think you bringing that fanboyism up in the show. All right, I keep
No.
everything real up on this thing. We're talking about confirmed
All right, fine,
pieces of
fine.
information on this show. I
All
keep
right.
people's expectations
But
in line. I hate seeing those other people get so hyped. And I'm like,
all
bruh,
right,
I was like, keep your
all
expectations
right,
in check so you're not crying and boo hooing on Twitter. Man, you can see some weird people up on that mess. I'm
all
just
right.
saying.
I know, keeping things a little bit more grounded. It would be very cool if a direct is on Tuesday. I would like that, especially because I'm off on Tuesday. I would
Mm.
actually be able to watch it in the comfort of my own
No,
home, like I did the last one.
I do you one better. Let it happen on Thursday. I'm off on Thursday. Let it be on
Yeah,
Thursday if it's gonna
I
happen.
I'm gonna be on a cruise on Thursday, so please do not do that, Nintendo.
Oh, wait, hold on. I just thought about this. Is there any way how you can actually get internet cell signal or anything like, or you gonna have to cut your phones
Probably.
off?
I got 5G. I'm hoping that I have a signal.
Oh, because at least whenever I went on my cruise, when we were going down to like Jamaica and stuff, we had to leave our cell phones off. And then there was like one spot I remember. There was like a shack or something when we dropped off in, was it Grand Cayman or Jamaica or something like that. It was, we were
Yeah.
constantly had our phones in airplane mode, but it's like if we could find someplace that had free Wi-Fi, you cut that mess on. I think some Pokemon game was coming out around that time, so I was trying to load up Cerebi and
Yeah.
see if they announced anything on the latest game. I
Yeah.
can't remember what
Worst
game was
case
out.
worst case
Yeah,
scenario. Worst case scenario is I get back from the cruise, and on my way back from the cruise, like a week later, I see all these announcements happened during the week that I just never saw.
you know
Which that
what?
would be the worst. I would be
I'll
mad.
send you the messages. I'll send you the messages or the
And then
videos
I
and
just
stuff.
won't get them.
And no, you'll
It will
get them
take me
back
a week to
the
receive them.
second you pull up on the coastline in New York. Your phone's just gonna be buzzing off the hook, and you're gonna be
Oh
like,
my god.
"Gosh, they announced blah 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 blah." I don't know,
Yeah. They announced new Super Mario Brothers 15. Oh my god, why would they do this?
but yeah. So, but regardless, we're right around that time where Nintendo Direct hunting season is approaching,
Yeah.
and you have all these different Nintendo YouTubers out there saying, "All right, it's gonna happen this week," and then when it doesn't happen, they change it to the next week or something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be funny
But
if it were to be this week, and then outside of all the rumors and stuff, people are like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Like they're all expecting it in September, and Nintendo one upped them. So I don't know.
yeah, if I had to go over it, like, yeah, if I had to think of expectations that are relatively safe, I would just say a demo for Echoes of Wisdom, because that game's going to be right around the corner. I think that makes enough sense. And Kirby. I think those are relatively safe picks if there is a direct.
Mm.
They skipped the February direct, so they might just skip another one, and this all could be rumors that go nowhere. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's a decent chance by the time we have our next episode, a direct could have happened. Well, if
That's
it
why
would
I'm
have
mentioning it.
if it
Yeah.
would have happened, then yeah, that would have been happening the last week of August or the first week of September. If we come back next episode and there's nothing, then it's like, well, shoot, Steven, I'm blaming on you. You're the one that
You
really
can
wanted to talk about this mess, though.
you
I
can
didn't
blame
have it in
me.
the script. I didn't have it in the script originally, but you felt like it was needed. So you better
I'm
cross
placing
your
a-
fingers. I'm
I'm
gonna
placing
hound you
all
hard next week.
okay, don't say it like that. I'm placing all my bets on I'm placing all my bets on Nintendo Direct on Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Well, with all that said, that's gonna do it in terms of our randomized breaking news segment stuff. So now we're gonna get to keep the show going here real quick, and we're gonna go ahead and jump straight up into what's in the gaming news. All righty, Stephen. Well, we talked about some unfortunate news a little earlier. Now we got hit with a little bit of more unfortunate news once again, though, because this necessarily wasn't a game that I was personally kind of really looking forward to, personally speaking, though. But it was a game I figured out that you actually liked in the series, though. But Nintendo actually came out and said one of the games that was supposed to release on the platform has been unfortunately delayed. And yes, I'm talking about Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time for the Nintendo Switch that was originally planned for October 10th of this year has been delayed. And more information about the new release date will be announced in the future. Thank you for your patience. Now, originally, just remind y'all, this game was actually announced at the partner showcase that happened back of February of this year, 2024, and this game didn't seem like it was overly complicated. It looked really simplistic, looked real clean, like visually speaking. It looked pretty nice and stuff. It felt kind of right at home on the Switch. I didn't think this would be like a game or something that would be majorly delayed or something like that, though. But, that can tend to happen with games here and there, though. And, Steven, how does that make you feel? Because I don't think I was getting this game, though. But you said there might have been a possibility that you might have gotten this game.
It wasn't a possibility, it was a certainty. I'm sad.
Well, gosh dang.
Zard, Fantasy Life is one of those few niche games I owned on my 3DS. I had most of the big games on 3DS. I was a basic bitch, I'd like to call myself. But Fantasy Life really stuck out to me because of just how many options and how free it felt. You start off, you could use if it's a very nice life simulator, I guess I'd describe it as. It's just a cozy game where you run around, there's tons of different jobs that you could level up. You could cut down trees, you could fish, you could fight, you could cook, but you could just do a bunch of different stuff. And like, not all of it is entirely fleshed out, but when you put it all into one game, it's really fun to just hang out. And this new one looked like it was going to be interesting. It was going to have some time travel stuff, meaning that the exploration was going to be a bit more interesting going into the past and to the future. Obviously it's still coming out, and I'm glad it's being delayed so it can get all the care and attention it needs. But like, I hope it's good. I really do hope it's good because yeah, Fantasy Life on 3DS, which I don't know if you own, but it's not that expensive. I would absolutely recommend Zard
No, I,
to
I
just
never I never played this series. I think I might have saw it in a past direct before. on the 3DS version, I should specify. That's the one I'm talking
Maybe.
about. I might have seen it in the past direct, but I didn't give two thoughts towards it at the time
It,
of whenever that 3DS version happened to come out. I don't know what other games was releasing before and after that, but I was looking at this game. I was like, I know it's not a Nintendo IP thing. It looks like I think at the time was that exclusive on the 3DS?
Fantasy Life, yes.
Okay, yeah,
Fantasy Life
because
is specifically a 3DS game.
okay, yeah, because I guess basically the same thing's happening with the Switch version because it was one of Nintendo's accounts on Twitter that actually made that announcement. It wasn't like from Level 5 themselves, like they're the ones that make the game. They didn't say it on their own terms, like Nintendo came out and said it for them. So I was like, oh, okay, they're really pushing that as like a really like a strongly associated Nintendo game for them to
Well,
come out
yeah.
and say that it was delayed. Or I don't know, they might
No,
also put
no.
some money behind it too. I mean, because that didn't feel.
Something
Hmm.
I was just gonna say something definitely went wrong, Zard, because this game they showed not only did they show gameplay, they showed story stuff, they showed multiple different features, they showed a finalized logo, and they showed a release date. So something happened for this game to get delayed.
Well,
Only
hold
two
up,
months before it
hold up.
released.
You know what? I got a couple of things that's running in the back of my mind real quick.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, something could have gone wrong in the back end. Like, I don't know, maybe they thought that their schedules lined up, or some people said, hey, I'm going to quit, move somewhere else, or something with the workforce where it's like, oh, based upon the resources we have now, we're not going to be able to get to the finish line at that said date. Usually, they're pretty good about solidifying deadlines and stuff. Well, if it were purely Nintendo, but considering this is level 5 and stuff, we don't know what's kind of going on in their back end though. Or I will say this, it's getting really hectic between September, October, and November of this year. We're literally about to get to a segment within like my podcast series where every episode from this point forward, we're going to be talking about some brand new game that came out all the way up until mid-November. We're going to have some new game to talk about each and every podcast episode. And this is a bi-weekly show. So I'm wondering, did they look at the crowded release schedule and was like, we could say we want to delay this, put it out in the springtime of 2025, where it's least, there's not a lot of traffic around this game, and it will allow this game to shine even better than what we would if we just throw it out there to like a pack of hungry wolves or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing all the possibilities, though. I mean, it could be a combination of those two different mindsets, though.
Yeah, it could be a lot of different factors, but whatever it is, I hope this game comes out good because the original is just such a charming little RPG charming little RPG mixed with Animal Crossing is the best way I would describe it. Um, I'm not, I definitely don't think you will, but if you get a chance, try out Fantasy Life. Or it's a fun game. Or
If I did,
even if
well, hold
they
on. Is there
if they
online features in it, or you
in the
think
new
there
one,
will
yes.
be?
Yes,
Okay.
no, they already confirmed there will be online features. I know for a fact Sonic is getting this game. He's like the main one I know that's getting this
No,
game.
this definitely looks like a Sonic game. Hmm.
It's good. It's a fun little cute chibi game.
Hmm.
That's
All right.
really all I could say. Like, this is I don't have a lot interesting to say about it, but all I could do is show for it. I like the original. I hope they make this new one as good as the original. And that's all they have to do is just make a good sequel. I kind of still think the title is a little weird. It's Fantasy Life I, lowercase I, the girl who steals time.
I think they were trying to
Like,
do a little rhyming convention thing with it, though. I get the feel
yeah,
they're going for, but there's probably a reason why that I is not capitalized or something. I don't know.
I guess
Hmm.
it's weird. Maybe because if it was capitalized, it would look like one. I
Oh,
don't know.
basic. That might be it.
Yeah,
But
but I'm just more concerned about the delay. I hope this game isn't in development hell.
yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. Well, that was it in terms of that one topic. So we'll go ahead and roll on over to the next thing though, because Steven, it was me, you, and some of our other friends. We're in a call. What was it, like a handful of days ago? when the Pokemon Company was basically doing their World Championships. When they do their Pokemon Go face-offs, their Pokemon TCG battles, as well as like the regular VGC battles as well. And then they were talking about them announcing some new announcement at the very conclusion of the whole entire event. So everybody was just kind of waiting for the championships just to be done to see
Yeah.
what they were going to go through and announce. And lo and behold, in perfect Pokemon fashion, they literally gave us the Pokemon Presents that we normally would typically get in the month of August, minus like the big major game like a Pokemon Legends ZA, because that was definitely not the announcement. They went through and talked about a new Pokemon Go update and stuff. They talked about Pokemon Unite. They didn't talk about Cafe Mix over here, all right? Like, they skipped that and Master Sex. Like, they skipped them two games, though. But then they
Well,
came out with the one that honestly was the one I was really cared about the most, was that TCG Pocket game that's supposed to come out some point in 2024. Now we finally got a stinking release date for that game, and it's gonna come out on October 30th. Now it's not like you have to spend money, though. I guess there's ways you being able to do it, but you get like free packs every day and stuff, and it's gonna be kind of cool to play that on your phone and kind of, what was it like, the way how the cars kind of show up on there, like with shine and sheen and like some
yeah.
pseudo 3D effects and stuff. Like I'm just gonna like just being able to easily kind of collect these cards, and we'll see if there's like a little bit of mini battling aspect to it, where it's like locally with a few different
Oh,
people or online or whatever. Because
they,
if so,
they
I'll probably be able to play against my brother because I know he really likes Pokemon and stuff.
okay. If they do a trading card game, mobile game, and there's no battling, that would be stupid. I think I maybe they already showed
No, I
battling.
think I
I
think
hope
they
they
might
did
have. I just
because
want to see how it's like
yeah,
fully implemented, because I know you probably be able to do it
yeah,
with people next to you. I'm just want to know if it's like a way to do it like online, or is it?
probably.
I don't know.
In
Yeah.
obviously, I feel like trading cards will definitely be a main thing. It's called the
Oh yeah,
trading card game.
it has to be. Has to be.
Like, just trading your rare cards with other people, having like a decks that you'll have to fill out, and that slowly gets bigger and bigger. I think it scratches a nice itch of just, open the app, open your free pack every day, do a battle, maybe do a battle. It's probably gonna be fun. I might download it just to open the packs, and even if I don't care about the card game.
Oh yeah, no. For some people, it's just going to be purely about collecting and seeing how good these cards are, especially since like a lot of the artwork and stuff, like they I don't know what the exact wording that they use for it though, but it's like the way how they digitize a lot of these art cards and stuff had to be done in like a very particular way. I guess I could say that, to where it's going to show up
Yeah,
really good within the app while you're looking at it from these different angles and stuff though. So I'm really looking to see exactly how this is going to portray out, because I always like Pokemon TCG battling, like like what you can do on the computer right now and stuff. I just wish it was like simplified a little bit more. Or honestly, they should have that app on the Nintendo Switch. Like I don't know what they're doing over here. They're tripping. I'm just saying. But overall,
Pokemon
I'm really
Quest is on
I'm
stuff.
looking forward to this one. Is this going to be like a quick get in, get out? Just check it as soon as you wake up in the morning, or check it while you're on your break or your lunch during the day or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, is this a quick
Listen,
get in, get out?
listen, Zard. The ideal Pokemon fan wakes up and checks their Pokemon sleep stats, then checks their Pokemon TCG card player. After they get ready for work. On their way to work, they play Pokemon Go, and then they get home and they play the console Pokemon games, and then they
You,
play a bit of Pokemon Unite before bed, and then they put on Pokemon Sleep again.
honestly,
That is the
for
ideal
those
Pokemon
for those
lifestyle.
that actually only play Pokemon and nothing else, because there's those fans out there, you might be speaking for like 36% of the audience out there. I'm just saying, like that's probably what they be doing. And every now and then they might play a little bit of Mystery Dungeon or go back and play like one of the classic Pokemon spin-offs and stuff like that,
Like
like
Conquest.
Pokemon Ranger or Conquest or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh my
Pokemon Snap,
goodness.
which everyone begged for and then never and then never played new Pokemon Snap.
I don't want to hear nothing else from the Pokemon community. Y'all begged for something for so long and y'all didn't show up. I'm gonna
I know,
I'm gonna
right?
keep riding that one on them.
For another time, we at least both agree that new Pokemon Snap is peak fiction.
Yeah, it looks good. I never picked up the game myself, but if I see it for
But
cheap,
you
maybe I'll.
didn't?
No, I didn't.
I thought
I
you
t-
had
I've
it.
been I I've been told you this, miss. I never had it on
You
the,
probably
the original
did.
Pokemon Snap. I never owned it on the Nintendo 64. So there was no nostalgia baiting on this one title for me to incentivize me to go ahead and pick this up from my local Best Buy and play new Pokemon Snap. Yes, the visuals and stuff look really nice. I loved what I saw with people's posts and stuff on Twitter. But me just kind of driving by on an on-rail shooter, just taking pictures of Pokemon, that ain't for me. That's for all them filthy casuals out there, though. I'm not saying that you are a filthy casual. I know how you are, but like for me
It's a
personally,
lot. Yeah,
no, no. I
it's
would
a
have
lot
rather
more.
picked up the remake of the mystery dungeon game that dropped on Switch before picking
I
up new Pokemon Snap.
it's a lot. It's a lot more in depth than just taking pictures. Like getting the specific shots is hard. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
It
that's just a
appeals.
personal thing with me. Not saying the game's bad. I just
Yeah,
know it's not for me.
just like I don't know, like the trading card game, like the actual mechanics of the trading card game. I don't get it. I don't really understand why people like it. I guess, but like I'm happy for those people that you have another new way to play it, and
Yeah.
that's the main thing. That as much as I was hoping that we'd get Pokemon Legends ZA, this is still a pretty good announcement.
No, we ain't getting that until some point next year. Like I'm fully
Yeah,
expecting it
but
now.
I guess
That's just
that's just the stupid ass Pokemon consumer in me. It's a good thing that we didn't get Legends ZA yet, because that means they're hopefully taking more time with this one.
yeah, yeah,
Which
pretty
is
true.
like even you as definitely more of a Pokemon fan than I am. You can at least hopefully admit that like this series needs to work on its dev time better. They only get like it feels like they only get a year for some of these games. Like especially the visuals is a main thing. I don't know. Like Pokemon could look so much better.
Yeah, it
Like
really
y-
could.
like
But
you have a PS5. You understand what good graphics look like. I'm not saying Pokemon needs to be Spider-Man 2 levels of graphics, but it could at least be Spider-Man 1 levels of graphics. It could be it could be 1080p for a start.
yeah, I mean it could. But then
I
again, this
just
is the Pokemon company. They got all the money in the
I
world, and they're
know.
still gonna be cheapskates like most of
Yeah.
us in our
I know
lives.
that it sucks. Like even if it's just, well, why not do a cell shaded game in that at that point? That's what I don't get about this goddamn company. Like if you don't like doing realistic graphics, then why don't you do a cell shaded game? There's no reason not to. At least I can't think of a reason not to. Do a cell shaded game and it's a win-win. You don't have to put that much detail into the models and they still look pretty good. But that's enough about Pokemon. Pokemon Presents August 2024 was good because
Yeah.
that's basically what it was.
Yes.
They showed off some shit for Go, I guess. Who cares?
Yeah, no. Literally, all I wanted to talk about was mostly the TCG thing because that's the only thing of importance that really, out of all the announcements they made during this little segment, it was the most important thing outside of them not mentioning their next major game being Legend ZA or anything else or spinoff related or something like that. That's all I wanted to get across, though. It wasn't going to be like a lot of meat and potatoes up on that one, though. But that's
Yeah,
what I wanted to kind of go through. All right, so
I get.
we had some good positive vibes going at least for the most part, Steven, though. But we're gonna bring that crashing down now because we got to talk about our boy Concord over here. Like this man has been laid to slaughter. Like they threw this man up in the slammer. Like they got the rope tied around his neck. Like they about to off this dude. Like
You
I'm just
say
ooh.
you say our boy like I didn't disown this game day one.
I mean yeah, you're right. True.
I'm pretty
Technically, you're
sure
right.
I'm pretty sure you were there when we watched the state of play. You it,
Yeah,
I don't You were
Yeah,
there when we were just all fucking bored by this game. Our friend
yeah.
group was just watching it.
At first, we thought we had a little bit of hope, or at least I did personally, because I was like, "Oh, this looks like rip off Guardians of the Galaxy." But if it was going to be a
That's
single player
that's
game,
oh
I was like, "You know what? This might be kind of cool." And then they
okay.
showed the gameplay, and I was like, "Oh no, it's a hero shooter."
Just calling it rip off Guardians of the Galaxy immediately should not give hope.
I'm just saying, though, everybody and their
Yes.
mama, at least that has,
No, but
or that I've been going through and watching, that was either live reacting to it or talked about it after the fact, has came to a general consensus like, yeah, like it looks like a rip off Marvel project or whatever. No, I
well
love
yeah.
how everybody's
Yeah.
associating that with it.
Well yeah, not Guardians of the Galaxy is obviously one comparison, but just the way that everything feels. It just I know it's not going to make sense. It feels like Marvel. The witty dialogue, the moments that are trying so hard to be cool, all these quirky characters. I fucking hate everything about this game, honestly, and I'm glad to see it fail. It's trying to be a over realistic narrative shooter, which those two don't really work together.
Yeah,
Like
and
your game is a hero shooter, and you're really expecting me to get attached to your basic characters?
yeah. So let's go ahead and break this mess down here real quick, because for those that are wondering, why the heck are y'all talking about as if this thing failed? Like, I don't know how y'all can come to a general consensus. It's only opening launch weekend. While yes, we don't know the exact numbers of people that might be playing on PS5 consoles right now on the PlayStation and such, this game was also released on PC like via Steam, and we have some numbers for that because the all-time peak for this game, since it has basically originally launched, within this opening weekend, was 697 players. 697 players, just a little shy of 700. That is abysmal. Now, granted, the numbers could be higher on PlayStation, but let's just multiply that by like 3 or 4 if we want to be graceful right now. Like, that's lower than, like, obviously, like 2,400 people at most, and I'm being pretty generous about that. If more people are playing on PlayStation, which honestly there probably are, but like how much more than the 697 on Steam? That's just abysmal.
Zard, just for comparison, I'm on Steam DB right now, just looking at games, you know.
Yeah,
Um just I'm just trying to look for like a game that nobody cares about. Um here's a good example. You said 600 something was its all-time peak.
yeah.
More people right now, like as we speak, more people are playing Doom plus Doom 2 compared to Concord.
Wait, how
But
many people are playing that game right now?
821. Like
Gosh, dang.
I can name any single player game here and people are playing it more right now. Like tons of games. Devil May Cry 5, Far Cry 4, Tomb Raider, the reboot one, fucking Enter the Gungeon, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Like
How many people are playing
games
Fighter Z?
892.
Okay, okay, man.
But like
Yeah.
still so many games. Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding Director's Cut, the demo for Final Fantasy 16.
Like, how much is that one?
762.
Oh, good
But
night.
even then, all of these games, all of these games aren't even like big multiplayer games. So you know what? To be fair, I will compare it to another like shooter that was highly popular. You've heard of Team Fortress 2, right?
I'm not sure if I did or didn't. I don't know.
Team Fortress 2, it was made by Valve. It's got like the scout, like the scout, the heavy with the big machine gun. It's a very popular game that was on Steam and kind of kickstarted that whole platform as into in general. But like the details on what Team Fortress 2 is aren't that important. It's got 9 different classes with tons of game modes, maps, and equipment to play with. And this game came out in 2007, Zard. Okay?
Yeah,
This game came out in 2007. Take a wild guess on how many players are playing it right now.
I say 1,000.
60,000.
Oh, mm,
Guess what the all-time peak is from 13 months ago?
it's 40.
Two 253,000.
Oh,
13 months ago, which is still a decade after it released. This game has never ever gone below 20,000 concurrently.
hmm.
Or like this game is always alive, and Concord, a new release that is just trying to be like the next big shooter, can't even break that.
Now let me add some
I
stuff
just
to
think it's
this though,
embarrassing.
because apparently I think universally, I don't know how people came to this consensus, but somehow they have. There was one game that some people would consider as like one of the worst games that probably have released in last year, like 2023, and it's like Lord of the Rings,
Gollum, yeah.
Gollum or whatever. Though that at its all-time peak was 758 players,
And
and
that's
that's
one of the
still
worst
higher
games.
than Concord right now.
Yeah, I'm I'm on one hand I would feel bad about trashing Concord, but from the moment I saw it, I knew it was gonna be the worst fucking thing imaginable.
And that's the
Like that game was destined for failure.
And that's the crazy thing too, Steven, because I think from what I heard from people that play the game isn't necessarily bad in the sense of how the game runs and how it operates. It's just more so of a mindset thing of like of people looking outside in is like, why should I care about this game? Whereas if you look at other games, like their other competition and stuff, like for example, Marvel Rivals is going to come out later this year. At least I, as a Marvel fan, can resonate with that potential game, and I will have more interest in playing Marvel Rivals versus Concord because I know the characters that are going to be behind that one hero shooter versus this one right now with Concord stuff. So it's like you have to find a way to make the audience care about the game with hero shooters. And the crazy thing with this game also is the fact that it took like 8 years for them to develop, which they're kind of tracing the trend about chasing the trend behind Overwatch at the time when that game was coming
Yeah.
out.
I
And if it takes you this long to make the game, then obviously you're kind of shooting in the dark whether or not people are going to still care about it. And I feel like now with most of the games that are out in terms of hero shooters, most of them are kind of free to play. So it's like you also have that going against you for this game actually costs you $40 to get inside the door.
Yeah, this game is yeah, that's the thing. It's not free. It's relying on good word of mouth, but you can't generate good word of mouth when everything about your game from the surface looks like the most bland piece of shit imaginable. Like and that's not even to mention that Valve just announced a hero shooter that they're working on, which
Oh, yeah.
and the Valve is working on a hero shooter called Deadlock. I don't know if you've heard that that
Oh
got
no, I,
revealed
I think I
recently.
think I heard about that. Was that the one with the whole people originally couldn't talk about it because of the
Yes.
terms and conditions, but someone just hit the escape key or whatever, and then they're
Yeah,
like,
yes.
"Oh,
It
now I
was
can actually talk about it." I'm like, "Oh
yeah,
gosh, that's
no,
so
no,
weird."
literally it was one of the worst kept secrets ever. Like that
And
this
then they
game was a
just
thing.
open it up after the fact. They're like,
Yeah,
"Well, we ain't gonna
yeah,
put up with this no more."
yeah, they literally said, "Yeah, it's still in beta, but you could talk about it if you have it." And that game stylistically looks much more interesting. And the only thing that people like about the Concord game is the controller, which
Well, I
that's
mean that
another
that
thing.
that
They
controller
made
hasn't even sold out yet, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's still like a unique design. Someone even pointed out Sony thought that Concord was going to be just as big as Overwatch. They made these limited edition controllers. They gave
When
it a
they
highlight, a 11-minute highlight in a state of play. Um,
yeah,
I
they had that mess backwards, Steven. They gave
I
Concord
know.
its controller when Helldiver 2 should have really got the controller. Because it's like, dang, it's like, hey, you're gonna have some
Yeah.
high points with games like that, ones that you didn't think were gonna blow up, and then it's like, all right, you're gonna try to do it yourself with another game, and then that one flops, and it's like,
Yeah, there's a lot of stupid stuff I've heard about this game. I don't know if you've seen this. Originally on Steam, the game under the tags, it had LGBTQ plus and political under the tags.
oh yeah, I saw that. Then they
They
took it
they have
away to
now
try to
the
add more people to the game or
yes,
convince people to buy it. Yeah,
yeah, and then someone replied saying game has more pronouns than players. That's fucked up.
that's messed up. That's really messed up.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
by the
oh
way,
shoot.
status update, only 281 people playing it right now.
Oh right, and as of now,
Yes,
Oof.
281. That's even lower than what I said. I'd have to go back to the charts, but that's extremely low. Um, yeah, that's not even to mention that half of the heroes in this game, I'm looking at the heroes right now, and they just all look boring.
Yeah, and
Like
it's
you
kind of
got
funny with the release date of this one and how they're dropping it out right now when you have another hot new game that's out on the block, which honestly could be a game of the year contender with Wukong. And it's like I feel like most of the people on Steam they ain't looking at this game. They're looking at the other game right now though, because that game sold stinking 10+ million units between the PS5 and now with Steam combined. And I know Sony's over there, licking their lips like, dang it, the little punks released this game around this point. Like, ugh. I just don't know. I just don't know.
yeah, there's a lot that I don't really like about this game, just from what I've seen. All of the characters looking ugly. It's I would be opening a whole can of worms if I talked about what I think if I said what I would change about the characters, but like people are just comparing this to Overwatch, comparing the heroes' designs, how they're much more interesting and have a lot more going on.
Yeah. So honestly,
How do you fail this badly?
hey, when you got a bunch of yes men up in the office and they're like, hey, we got to make this live service initiative and stuff, and remind you they did cancel games such as like factions and stuff. Like remember with what was it? I think it was what was it earlier this year when that was announced and it
Yeah.
was canceled. Factions for The Last of Us, like the whole live service thing.
Yeah.
Was it Bungie? I think that was talking to them, or was like, or one of like Sony's studios that kind of looked at that game and was like, nah, y'all really shouldn't be putting this out. And then they came out in a statement and said, yeah, we can't pursue this anymore. Otherwise, we're just gonna be known for the faction studios instead of us being able to also work on these other single player campaigns that we really love to do as well. Like you can't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket with this when you're really known to also do this as well though. So it kind of makes me think, well, how many more live service games that PlayStation kind of has in back in the kitchen cooking in the oven before you kind of realize like, wait a minute, that those brownies and stuff that I put up in there, they're looking kind of black and a little bit charred. So maybe I should take those out and throw them in the trash and make a nice pasta dish instead.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's going to take for them to realize that the brownies up in there are burning before they got to do something about it, or make a pivot or something. But that's just kind of where we're at right now, at least with Sony in terms of their live service
Zard,
initiative. I just don't know.
there's a lot of things I'd like to say, but the next thing I'll just say is that the saddest part, which I just found out because I've been researching more, Concord was apparently in development for 8 years.
As I said,
Yeah, I see people saying, and like this would be the best thing. Somebody said, sometimes I think Concord is gonna start the chain reaction, which ends publishers endlessly chasing this live service trend, but probably not. I would love for that to be the case. I would love for Concord's failure to be the main reason that studios stop doing live service and go back to single player. But that's not gonna happen.
no, because everybody wants their cash cow
It,
Final Fantasy
it yeah.
14.
It
etc.
literally never ends well. Name a single live service game after Fortnite that actually picked up and stuck around.
Hmm.
A
Or that
single
was like
one.
as not necessarily has to be as successful as Fortnite. Like that shoot, they
A
made
game
like a
that hasn't
50
been
they made like a
sunset yet.
$1 billion deal something,
Yes. A
billions of
game
dollars with Disney. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing
just
that's been that successful, but really nothing's
name
really coming to mind, at least for me.
yeah, name a single game that hasn't been shut down. There. Like a live
Hmm.
service game that has not been shut down that is still consistently getting updates.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. Ooh, we've been seeing that
No.
left and right. Yeah.
It's just sad. Someone even said, Concord was in development for 8 years. Someone retweets it saying, "Ah, that makes sense. Fucking Overwatch released 8 years ago." Basically, everyone's just joking that this is an Overwatch clone.
Yeah, that's true.
And like,
We
I, oh my god, I'm sorry. I could talk about this game all
Yeah, no,
day.
I'm cutting you off, Steven. We'll wind up trashing this game all day. But I don't like
We'll
talking
talk.
about trash. I
Yeah,
don't like smelling it. I don't like breathing it. I
I,
don't like inhaling it. We just got to report on the trash being there, so that way we can get
I.
this the garbage man to come over here and pick up the trash, and we can go
Last
about our day.
last thing, I promise. Last thing. More people are playing Sonic Adventure 2 on Steam right now than are playing Concord, with 317 people playing SA2.
Hey, that's a good game right there. That's a good Sonic game.
It doesn't even crack the top 1,000. I just don't understand how you do this. More people are playing the original Modern Warfare 2. Original 2009 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. More people are playing. I'll end it there, but it is sad.
Mm, yeah, sad indeed. So Sony, the most important thing you can take from this situation is just learn from it. You might support this game for 8 months to maybe a year at most, just to do all the updates and stuff you had planned for this game. But after that, you got to know when to cut the cord, pull the cord out, and say, "Hey, we tried, we failed, move on." Important thing is to learn from it. All right, that's all we're gonna say about this. I'm done smelling this trash. We're gonna go
That,
over to
that's
something
fine.
that
Yeah.
actually smells nice now, because yeah, within the past week, we did manage to get a Nintendo Direct, but it's not the Nintendo Direct everybody might have hoped for. But it was an interesting one nonetheless. And yes, we're talking about that Museum Nintendo Direct. Now, I don't know about you, Steven, but after seeing this thing, I'm like, oh, shoot. I definitely want to make a trip over there to Japan just to visit this gosh dang stinking museum. They
It
really
looks
need to
so good.
find a way to make one in the U.S., preferably in the the Florida locale area where I kind of do a lot of my vacationing and stuff at, so I can just kind of hit it up there. I don't want to go all the way over to the Pacific Coast in California though. But what they did manage to showcase off in this museum direct, it was really nice. What was how long was the show, Stephen? Like 10 minutes or so? It wasn't even
About
that
about
long.
about 16 minutes. It was
Oh, 16,
like
15.
more
Okay.
than 15.
Okay, a little more than
It
15.
was
Okay.
they went into detail about like those attractions that they have for a while, which yeah, I will immediately say I'm, finally some good topics to talk about. Concord got me mad. This makes me happy again. I love everything they showed about this museum.
Yeah, and I love how at least Miyamoto's having the time of his life now, Stephen. Like we've been talking
Yeah.
about this dude. I feel like at least once every like 6, 7 episodes or something like that. From everything he's been doing from the movies, now we know that there's a second movie in development as well. There's a Legend of Zelda movie that he's also working on as well. Him doing all the works and stuff with the theme parks. He opened one up in Japan. The American one should be opening up sometime, I think, in 2025 or so. Now him doing the museum stuff, like Miyamoto's having the time of his life. I wish I could be in the dude's shoes, like being able to have all of your babies, so to say, with like all these classic IPs that are associated with Nintendo that you raised from like the NES era on up, and now being able to expand out within just video games itself. This is crazy. So that's off to Miyamoto. I know he's having the time of his life though. But like I think the first thing they showcased off was like that show floor where you had all those different giant consoles, or should I say like controllers for some of them, for like all the different systems spanning from like the NES and the Famicom that they were showcasing off all the different versions, not even just the ones that were released in
Yeah.
Japan only, but also in the Americas or even the European region as well. I love how they had all those different sections up, the TVs on top, where you actually were able to see all the different gameplay and stuff from said games. And I love how they had all
Yeah.
the
I like
box arts for like the American, European, and Japanese versions as well.
yeah.
Like cool stuff.
I love that. It's gonna be obviously. Here's the thing, Zard. Us as Nintendo fans, we've watched enough Did You Know Gaming to like know a lot of this stuff. Like the differences between certain box arts. Like we've seen enough of this stuff over the course of our lives to like understand it. But a lot of people, a lot of younger people especially, are gonna be very interested to see like Nintendo's history, like
Younger
stuff like
people and the casuals.
yeah, like
Absolutely.
especially the small things that you'll notice when going to the museum, like how Kirby is a lot more mean in American box art than he is in Japanese box art. Stuff like that, which is really funny to me. Especially different names of games in different regions, different art. A lot of games used to have completely different box art in Japan.
Yeah, like we had a lot of vertical. Like even if I'm thinking back to like the NES era, a lot of our box arts were vertical. A lot of
Yeah,
for Japan stuff was horizontal. Like they had that as a running thing, at least within the NES stuff. I'm trying to,
but then it changed
s-
up. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
SNES was vertical there. Same with GameCube. Same with
yeah.
uh
SNES was vertical, but for us it flipped, and ours SNES I think was like mostly horizontal, and I was like, dang.
the SNES box. The SNES boxes they have are really cool. But yeah, getting back on track. uh all of the cool memorabilia, like all of the stuff, all of the toys that they made before they were a video game company. The fact that the museum itself is built on top of the original factory where they produced the game, produced the toys, and
Yeah,
also
like
the original factory where quality checks for the Famicom happened. It is like the site itself is a museum.
yeah, and I like how they covered everything from basically Nintendo's origins with them originally making those Harafuda cards. Like that's where it kind of all started. And then doing like all of these things that just kind of made family life enjoyable in terms of like you being able to spend time around your family and friends and stuff, just playing simple games. Just to start off as simple card games. Then you're able to kind of do some other little things with some toys and stuff that you managed to do within your household, and then that evolved all the way up to them making games and stuff that families were able to kind of play with each other and appreciate. Like I
Yeah,
love how they covered all the history from the very beginning all the way where we're currently right now with the Nintendo
yeah.
Switch. Like
And the
I
fact
love that rich history.
I guess the fact that they embrace it is also a big thing. Like any other company, I don't think many other companies would be able to embrace their past as much as Nintendo can. Like especially the whole thing about how you can make your own Hanafuda cards,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
no, yeah.
on the floor there's like these little, like, was it the screen on the floor you can play against people?
Or it was something like you had some
You have a
interconnectivity between
tablet.
your phone and the floor below you where
No,
you're
no,
actually
it's
able to
a
control some stuff.
no, it is a special tablet that you are given when you walk
Oh,
in,
okay.
is what they said.
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
also, I think, you're either going to use that or a different card to use, like, actually play the attractions. I'm assuming the attractions will be on their own separate floor from everything else. They
Yeah.
might have already said this. It might just all be on the first floor, and then the memorabilia and the museum itself is on the second floor.
No,
Either way,
yeah, they kind of showcase
um,
off a few things, but it wasn't all the stuff. It was just like some personal
yeah,
highlights Miyamoto went through and showed us.
yeah, they showed. I liked it. Like, yeah, obviously, there's tons that we haven't seen yet. I'm hoping they have some special edition consoles there, like some, the. I'm just thinking in my head like the Donkey Kong 64, the N64 controller that looked like a banana,
Yeah,
like stupid,
they could do
stupid
something with
stuff like that.
controllers. Yeah, they could. And then
I want them to pull that out.
I didn't even think about this, Steven, though, but there's a floor that probably has all the different amiibo and stuff. Like, I know they're not
Oh,
gonna, especially when they were
of
used to make
course they
toys
have,
and stuff
like,
back in their day before they made video games. Of course, there's gonna be a whole section that has everything, that was either Japanese exclusive or things that came over here to the West and stuff. They're gonna have all that stuff laid out in some section, which I'm a
Yeah.
big Amiibo fan, so I would love to see that as well.
Yeah, even it'd be cool if they sell some of that stuff there. They already said that there's going to be museum exclusive merch, which,
That
even if
kills
it's
me
like
inside. That kills me.
even if it's like some of their old toys, like if they sell an Ultra Hand or something like that, or they sell special packs of Hanafuda cards, like stuff like that is going to be so cool to see. And the museum itself, you have those directional speakers. When you stand under a TV, you'll hear the sound of the game that's playing on that TV. They've already confirmed that you're just gonna be, there's gonna be booths where you can play classic Nintendo games
Yeah.
too.
Oh
Like it's not,
shoot. And you're talking about playing, classic Nintendo games. That one
ah,
section when they had those giant controllers, like the
it's
giant
so good.
Famicom controller, the giant 64, the giant Wii remote. The Wii remote looks like cancer. Like, bro, like, can you imagine playing that with like two other people trying to hold
No,
that
that's
gosh
what they
dang
show.
thing
That's what
up
they.
and try to
And if
point
you
because you don't know where the heck that sensor bar is
no,
at. I'm like, bro, I was like, imagine playing Mario
if you look in
Galaxy
the
with that thing.
background,
That's ridiculous.
yeah, if you look in the background, you can see two women trying to lift it up and like tilt it side to side.
They were
Like, yeah,
struggling. They were
yeah.
struggling.
But then there was another game, I think it was Wii Party, where all you have to do is keep it upright and tilt it. You could just rest it on the floor and
Oh
slightly
goodness.
tilt it back and forth.
They're just
But
lucky they
like,
didn't have the giant nunchuck with
yeah,
it too.
it seems like it's gonna be so interesting. N64 especially, you're gonna need three people to operate that fucking thing.
Well, yeah, just to hold the
One
thing,
one
just to
yeah,
hold the thing up.
yes.
Let's keep it
One
real.
one 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 on the analog stick, one person on the A and B buttons, and then another person just for the triggers.
You forgot about the C buttons depending on the game you're playing. Like imagine playing
You're
Mario
gonna
64. You had to
Well, yeah,
hit the
I
C
was just
button.
about to say. Imagine you get like a team of five speedrunners all backwards long jumping on the giant controller.
Oh no. I kind of want
No,
one of
but
those things just sitting somewhere in
in
my
your
room,
home.
or not even like that super giant one you play the games with, or at least like one of those slightly smaller ones that hang from the ceiling of like the Nintendo 64 section. I just want something big
I
like
want
that.
I want an N64 oh no, I want an NES controller the size of my keyboard. That would be a nice supplement.
Yeah, no. Hey, the bigger the better.
No,
And
but it's really cool.
yeah, and I think like the one last thing I we saw from the direct that I wanted to point out was the fact that you had well, actually a couple of different things. One of them was like the batting cage. I like how everybody call it a batting cage. Well, yes, it kind of does look like and resemble it though. It's a little more than that. It's like you have like basically like a plasticky kind of bat, but you're hitting like one of those plastic wiffle balls back at the machine that launches it towards you, and you hit different things in the room, and all these rooms are stylized behind Japanese homes back in that olden era. And like just hitting like the bottles or something like that, or hitting like an old fax machine or something like that. Like it interacts with every little thing that you might possibly be able to hit it with. So I found a little bit of joy out of that. I was like, oh, okay, that actually is kind of cool.
Yeah, I
Just to
love
have
that.
little activities like that. But then most importantly for me, Steven, the NES and Super Scope shooting range. Oh shoot, that's a chef's kiss right there. I grew up on the NES.
Yeah.
I shot as many ducks as I possibly can with my good old with my was it my good old boy duck hunting stuff with the dog and stuff. Man, I really want to try that out. Like that just seems perfect. I never actually grew up playing on the Super Nintendo, so I never had hands on with a Super Scope. But the
Not a
NES
lot of people
Zapper was
did.
me. Yeah. So I don't know. I might need to get one of those things one point in the future
Yeah,
though, just
but
to have one.
no,
But
but
yeah,
it's gonna be really cool, honestly. I'm personally hoping that there's more than just a Mario minigame. I'm hoping that it like switches like a Splatoon Turf War minigame or a Zelda like archery minigame with it. Or just a duck hunt one.
Duck Hunt makes too much sense.
Like
Between like I feel like they're
it's an
gonna update it
electronic
over time.
screen.
They could
Yeah,
update
it's
it
an
over time.
electronic
Yeah.
screen. It should be easy enough to just make new games for it, which I'm really excited for that. It looks fun. You can play it with up to like 15 people, I think they said.
Something like that. It
You
was
can
like
play
a
that. You can
whole
play that with
shooting
a
gallery
lot.
range, basically.
And like yeah, I like how Miyamoto just, it's like, oh, it looks like I did pretty good. It gets first place.
Yeah, that was
It
pretty
it
good.
it seemed really good. Um, and then what was the other one they showed? Okay, on their website, they showed a couple more on the Nintendo Museum website. I
Oh
don't know
shoot,
if you've seen
I
this.
hadn't even checked that out. Hold up.
They did reveal the rest of the games. Obviously, one of them is making your own Hanafuda cards, and there was another like make your own thing.
Hmm.
I'm checking it real quick.
Yeah, I was
Because
trying to check it too. Oh yeah, because they also right now with the website being open, you basically can like reserve your tickets now and like review your reserved tickets and such. So it's kind of cool. You can kind of already plan your trip out if you really want
yeah,
to.
but yeah, like yeah, there's the whole screen. There's the screen on the floor with the Hanafuda cards. We got some more. Yeah, like there's gonna be a whole section. I'm looking at a picture right now of specifically Game Boy Advance, and yeah, they show a lot of different models of Game Boy Advance at the bottom. They show
Oh, the Ultra Hand
like
too. I saw that.
yeah,
Hmm.
there's a lot of cool stuff. Honestly, Zard.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. They have a Game and Watch SP section that looks like it does the weird stuff from the Xbox 360 Connect thing. Oh
well, no, it
gosh.
does it.
What
Yeah,
the heck?
it does it. Yeah, it does it using your shadow. You play Game and Watch games with your shadow. I'm
Oh,
assuming
that's
it's a very
creative.
specifically lit room. There's the Love Tester, which I think is an old Nintendo product. It has to be.
Yeah.
And then yeah, obviously just Nintendo classics. You can choose from over 80 games spanning up until N64, which is cool. And then yeah, fucking big controller.
Yeah, no.
That's all it's called. I guess the funny part is that there's a Famicom section. Like there's either Famicom controllers or NES controllers because I'm seeing both.
Yeah. You know, the
I
one
love it.
thing I have to point out, which is going to be a little bit unfortunate, but it actually makes sense if you put two and two together, is the fact that you're given 10 coins when you first enter into the museum and you use those on the attractions. I guess things that actually use your coins. Not probably everything in the museum will actually use your coins, but like probably some of the things where it's like the shooting gallery range or playing with the giant controllers, those will probably use up some of your coins. Once your coins run out, there's no way to buy any more. So technically, you probably won't be able, depending on the way how the pricing of some of these exhibits are, for you to be able to experience everything the museum has to offer within one single visit. But so for a lot of people I've seen out there that have, looked at that information and are like, what the heck? Why in the world is that the case? Why should I have to come back here several times? But keep in mind, if they didn't place that limitation, could you only imagine the people that flood into that museum and will try to hog or come back around in like a loop in the line and constantly play, like, for example, the giant 64 controller or something like that? Like, if you want to get these people in and out and allow as many people to play with these different attractions, you're going to have to place some kind of limits, or people will be there all day long. So it's kind of checks and balances. It's a little bit unfortunate, but if you're planning to make a trip out here, plan to at least visit that museum at least a couple, maybe a few different times to make sure you experience everything.
Yeah, I for one might go eventually. I'm excited, honestly. Um, I for one I think it's gonna just be really cool to see like all of the stuff that Nintendo's preserved. Because obviously Nintendo's got a bunch of stuff in their vault that they've just been holding on to for a moment like this.
Yeah, and everything we see
There's
right now, I mean, they're gonna put some of this stuff in rotation. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be up there for a period of time, but history always keeps evolving and stuff. You never know what they might, as you said, pull out their vault and throw into the museum and stuff like that.
I'm just looking at this. There's like there's the cafe where you can eat burgers and you could custom order your own hamburger and there's like special drinks and stuff. There's the what was it? Wait. There's the yeah, obviously the shop, which they say there are going to be exclusive Nintendo Museum items. I could only imagine if they do an exclusive amiibo, what will happen.
Oh gosh, no, please don't. for all things good. You cannot do that, man.
They will. Just watch them.
Oh, brother, please, 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 please don't.
And besides that, yeah, honestly, it just was a really fun and charming presentation to watch. Seeing Miyamoto just play all these games was the most fun part.
Yeah, so honestly, I think outside of this being a really great experience and them having that Nintendo fun factor spin applied to the museum, where it's like you probably wouldn't go into this museum and be bored. You're actually going to be entertained, and they have actual exhibits where you can actually be entertained and had that Nintendo fun factor to it. Though I really love it because walking to most museums nowadays, and it's just a bunch of reading, and that's about it. You might have something for the kids or something to ride, or like a miniature carousel thing or something in the middle of the in the middle of the museum or whatever. But at least with this one, it looks really cool, looks really fun. I just want this to be brought stateside, so I don't have to worry about taking oh gosh, what is it, like a 15, 12, 15 hour to 16 hour plane ride going from California and flying all the way over the ocean to get to Japan. But I don't know. One day when I might manage to make a trip to Japan, I'll see if I can check this off my bucket list though. But I do want to see more companies. I'm looking at you, PlayStation, Xbox, or even some of the third party companies like a Capcom or a Sega or something like that. I want to see more things from other people in the gaming industry for them to be able to preserve and possibly display some of their history like Nintendo has. Because I know there's a lot of other rich history out there within the other gaming companies out there. It would just be really nice to see that as well. I like how Nintendo's like getting ahead of the game and being like one of the first out the door with this. So hopefully some other companies will follow suit right behind them. At least fingers crossed.
PlayStation.
Which honestly, if PlayStation were to do one, they'll have a museum in the states, so that would actually be easier for me to see one of those. So, hey, but I think outside of that, that's gonna basically do it in terms of the whole entire Nintendo Direct stuff. So, really nice stuff they managed to showcase off within that Museum Direct. And lastly, we got to talk about Steven Gamescom opening night live. Now, I watched part of the show. Did you watch any of the show or any of the clips from this thing?
No, I'm
Yes.
sorry. It looked so boring.
Hey, that I think that was overall the general consensus from most of the people that have watched it. Shoot, even I was about to say the Germans. Well, while yes, there probably were some out there in the audience though, but the people who were actually watching Gamescom opening night live, there were some moments in there where they just did not cheer or did not laugh at some of the really bad jokes that they might have been
Yeah,
making.
quote unquote
Yeah,
joke.
yeah. So I was like, real quick, I mean, there's one big topic we're going to put more time into outside of some of this other stuff they announced. But just real quick, I'm just going to fly through all of the stuff they happened to announce. And most of this wasn't brand new announcements. There were a few here and there, though, but we'll just go through everything. Now, honestly, this was like a 2 hour long show. How the heck does Jeff Keighley run these shows for 2 hours? Is beyond me because I feel
Mm,
like you could easily condense this mess down to an hour. But they also had a
He's
half
great.
hour pre show.
Yeah, I was about to say he's great at stretching things out for an abnormally long time to get money. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's
The
crazy.
prospect of the prospect of maybe seeing a new game reveal is enough for people.
Yeah, truly is. So they started off so we're skipping all the pre-show stuff. They started off the show kind of strong with Borderlands 4 and it's coming out in 2025. So for a lot of people they're like, "Oh shoot, I didn't have Borderlands on my bucket list for things that could be announced." So not necessarily a bad start to the show. And then you followed it up with like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and it was like photo mode within the game or something like that. Like they started off with that before the action stuff picked up. So between those first couple of looks, you wouldn't think the show is going to be quote unquote bad. But then as the thing kind of keeps going on, it's like, well, it's going to run out of steam real quick. It's like a hot air balloon coming in for a crash. Yeah, Goat Simulator Remaster coming out in 2024. Persona 3 Reload episode I guess. I'm really looking forward to that though. They just kind of showed it real quick though. Dying Light the Beast, King of Meat. What the heck is that? Link Banner Spark Access Early Access October 22nd. Okay. Lost Records Bloom and Rage. No More Room in Hell 2. Okay. ARC Raiders coming 2025 playtest this in fall. Infinity Nikki. Oh my gosh. Remember that was that one crazy game that showed up in the PlayStation showcase and it's like that game doesn't even look like it should belong there,
Yeah.
but I don't good night. Path to Exile 2, Dune Awakening, Remnant or Re- Reanimal? What however you pronounce that thing. Genshin Impact coming to Xbox Series, and maybe that will save the console. A look at Monster Hunter Wilds trailer, so they kind of showcased that off again. Man, they showed that game off a lot during the summer. But it's still coming out in 2025. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is going to be out April 24th to 2025. So I don't know if they actually had a confirmed release date before now, but that is the release date. Monument Valley 3 coming later this year. Did my Civilization 7 basically February 11th. Starfield Revision 8 update coming free. It's basically out now.
Oh my
Marvel
god.
Rivals December 6th. The
Now
good
wait, wait, wait.
the good hero shooter. What were
Yeah,
you about to say?
I was about to say about Marvel Rivals. They revealed that it's all heroes are going to be unlocked from the start and that it will be free to play. Which,
Man,
if you don't know, that's kind of a dig at Overwatch because Overwatch was locking heroes behind battle passes that were paid.
yeah, yeah. That's just crazy because it's kind of like with Fortnite. It's like when they lock those characters behind season pass, it doesn't change the fundamental core value of how you play Fortnite. It's just cosmetic skins, so we can kind of get away with that. Versus if you have a hero shooter and you're locking the character out completely, and there's no way to get around it. Oh goodness, that's just crazy. I don't know. What else we had open here? Prime Video Secret Level series, 15 original episodes with collabs with new titles existing in these
Oh,
classic
secret
games
level.
is out December 10th. Say what? Prime Video Secret Level series.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's that seemed interesting. There's a Mega Man episode, but he kind of looks weird.
Hmm. Then you had
Concord's there, our favorite game, Concord.
Mhm. Oh, good gracious. Towerborn coming to Steam early access September 10th. Batman Arkham Shadow, the Quest 3 exclusive. That game looks really interesting. If I did have a Quest 3, that would be like one of the games as like a
Mhm.
must play VR game I will personally play. I don't have a Quest 3, so I don't know. That one's gonna wait. Little Nightmares 3. Um Hurdling. Okay. Peter Molinesic. Wait, oh no, never mind. I'm going through some of this other stuff that Water64 had on a little Twitter feed thing or whatever though. Thread, I guess you can say. Um, let's see here. Squid Game Unleashed from Netflix Games. Unknown Nine Awakening out October 18th. Arena Breakout Infinite? I don't know. Blizzard announced they'll have a Warcraft Direct show. Okay. The first Berserker. Okay. Floatopia. Shoot. Da 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 da. And they have Mafia, the old country announced.
That's a big
And
one from what I've heard. People like Mafia.
yeah. And like one of the last few games, and this is like one of the major topics I want to talk about as like one of the last gaming news segments, though, is that they talked about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And
Ah,
they said, hey, the release date, we finally have a release date for this thing now. Comes out December 9th. This was one of the few Xbox games I was like, okay, I might potentially pick this up on PC because they release on Xbox and PC and stuff. So I was like, okay, is this great now to finally have a release date? There's not a lot of games coming out in December. So I said, perfect, perfect time for me to pick that game up right before the lead up to Christmas, right, Steven? That makes perfect sense, right? And then they came out in the show and say, "We got one more thing for you, Steven. One more thing." And what did they go ahead and tell us? They say that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is also coming out to PS5 in spring of 2025. And then I
what is
heard
the
that,
point?
and I'm like, "Oh, okay. So what you're telling me is I don't need to
Not
buy
to
this
buy
on your
it.
platform.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this thing to come out on PS5 in the springtime." And that's
This is the
almost how
problem.
they basically ended the show. I'm like, wow.
These companies should stop pretending to have exclusives. Like timed exclusives literally don't matter at all. People will wait to buy your game until it's on PC, or they will buy it on the system they were going to buy it on anyway. Simple as that. The issue with most of these is obviously that if you're trying to do exclusive games, you know, make it exclusive. Stop pussying out. Like Nintendo, Nintendo has a plan. Nintendo, if they put Mario Odyssey on PC or something first, no one's gonna fucking buy it on Switch. Like that's the point. Like Nintendo's games are, not only built for handheld, they're built for gaming on the go, but they're also actually taking advantage of the Switch's hardware to its fullest most of the time. Well, PS5 games still don't even feel like next generation, and they're basic enough to where you could just port it really easily.
Yeah,
I have a lot that I could say. I've shat on the PS5 here before, but the main thing really is just why is Xbox doing this? Like
now,
remember a couple months ago we had those 4 games go to other systems, and then they specifically did say they were like, "Oh, Indiana Jones and Starfield are not included in this." A couple months later, Indiana Jones is now coming to PS5.
yeah, which technically, if you look at the way how Phil Spencer worded his words when he was talking about the upcoming 4 games in that little bit of an interview when they hadn't actually said what those 4 games are, which we later figured out that, yeah, part of those games was like Hi-Fi Rush as well as like Sea of Thieves, Grounded, and Pentiment. Those were the 4, and it was kind of leaked out via like rumors and stuff. It's like we kind of knew those 4 even while he was saying them anonymously, like, oh, we're not saying the names of them, but they'll be announced in due time. He was telling the truth that out of those 4 games, it wasn't Starfield and
Yeah,
it wasn't Indiana Jones.
it's just funny
However,
to
it's
reveal
still
it
kind of
later.
wishy washy because later on it happened to be the thing. Now, granted, it kind of makes sense out of all the Xbox games that they have released that Indiana Jones would be one of those games that will also come out the PS5 because you do have the Disney license with it, as we kind of seen with some of the leaks and stuff that happened from like the big Insomniac Games leak. Like some of those licensed games, like even with the Spider-Man series, it can get expensive. So it would make sense for Xbox to try to recoup as much of that money as possible for the licensing to try to turn a profit on this thing. So it makes sense for it to come to PS5. Like you have other games out there, like for example, Doom the Dark Ages, like that day and date is gonna be on Xbox consoles and PS5. Whenever that game comes out, more than likely, if I don't get it at launch or some point after the fact, I'll be getting my version on the PS5. If I check off all my boxes though. But it makes sense for this to come out on PS5. It's just the way how they announced it and worded it leading up to this launch. Like from the very get go, you could have said, "Hey, Indiana Jones is going to be coming out the PS5 and Xbox Series, day and date." No one would have been like super crazy about it if they would have came out with that news. You also wouldn't have been super crazy about it if you just would have said, "Hey, it's coming out on Xbox." Few months into 2025, it's like, "Hey, we're also going to be dropping this out on PS5 later on." I don't think too many people would have been arguing about it then. But it's like you're kind of wishy-washy. You're right in the middle doing this mess though. And it's like, why are you going to say that one more thing is going to be a PS5 version when you really should honestly be more so focused on that Xbox version at first? Granted,
Yeah,
because
like
of the way how you set it up, it's like you're kind of backpedaling from the original thought that you were gonna try to release this game as quote unquote exclusive at
yeah.
launch. It's so
One
wishy
more thing,
washy.
guys. Yeah, it's literally them going, one more thing. We're not confident in this game selling well, so we're just gonna release it on PS5 too. Like, that's what it is. It's desperation for some more sales. People aren't buying Xboxes for exclusive games. They're buying Xboxes because, oh, should I get this one or PS5? I guess I'll get this one. Like, there's really no reason to prefer an Xbox Series X to a PS5 besides the backwards compatibility. But once they release that discless one, then that goes away.
Yeah, so I don't know about you. I don't know if you're a big Indiana Jones fan, but at least from what I see when this game comes out, if the game looks cool, The game looks like it has like a decent amount of story up into it, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. The story should be good, but it's like if the gameplay vibes with me, this basically solidified. Oh, I'm not picking this up this holiday. This is a 2025 game for me, essentially.
Yeah, no, this game just looks like a movie game, and I am not excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I like Indiana Jones. Like I watched that most recent one and stuff. Like I'm a fan of that series though. So I have my eyes on it though, but definitely not for 2024 considering the way how they did this though. So I don't know. I feel like they just kind of shot themselves in the foot with this one. I, I just don't know what they're doing though in terms of like their mixed messaging and weird marketing. Like there's better ways for them to go about doing this, and the way and staying right in the middle and being like lukewarm about this whole thing is definitely not happening. And now, since you did this, coming right off that other interview with like the four other games coming to PlayStation, it's like every game now that Xbox is going to put out, like Avowed or even some other stuff that's going to come out in the future, like like Perfect Dark and such. Like now you're going to start questioning every single Xbox game that's going to be coming out and thinking, well, is it going to be purely exclusive on the ecosystem? Like we're looking console size, is it purely going to be exclusive on the Xbox, or is this going to be a day and date or a few months later going to be coming out to PS5 systems and stuff? Because now it's like if you're somebody that's like an Xbox console owner, it's like, well, why in the world will you kind of stick with that console now when you could get a PS5, play all of those exclusives, and because Xbox is still putting games on PS5, you'll still get those games on there. So now the possibility of you getting even more games is even greater on the competitor side thing. I'm like, huh? I just don't know. I just don't
There's
understand
no
their
reason,
thinking.
no good reason, at least. Yeah.
At this
Oh my
point, they might
god.
as well. And some people might hate me for saying this though, but at this point, you might as well consider yourself as like a pseudo first slash third party company. First party in the sense that yes, you still put out hardware for those that want to get it, stay in your ecosystem, whatever though, but mostly be like a giant third party studio in the sense that you put your games literally out there everywhere, from your TVs to people's
Yeah.
phones and tablets, your computers, your Xbox consoles, PS5 consoles, the Nintendo, like literally on almost everything you could play games on, you have your Xbox games available within like dedicated
Yeah.
launchers, or
I
you're
guess
actually able to pick it up off of the shelf. It makes
I guess
sense.
the issue is that they're trying to rely on Game Pass still. No one cares about Game Pass anymore.
Unless you're just
People
heavily
actually,
in the unless you're heavily in Xbox ecosystem, those people will still do it because it makes sense. It saves them quite a bit of money
yeah,
though. But I mean, it's definitely not. They're not growing that subscription based service any higher than what it
yeah.
really should be, and I feel like they're not making back as much money. I don't know how that's still profitable for
No,
them.
I don't think it is. I know for a while it was at a loss. I All I could guess is that Xbox is just being stupid at the moment because they're also still buying all these studios. I don't know if them buying Activision or buying this and and them closing a bunch of studios. What is going on internally at Microsoft is the main question. Like everything with Tango Gameworks is a good example.
Yeah, no, they've been constantly on fire and stuff, and it's like, it's like I feel like one week Xbox is burning up, the other week PlayStation's burning up. This week it was PlayStation and Xbox burning up from like the Indiana Jones stuff for Xbox and the Concord stuff for PlayStation. Like some of these companies just can't catch a break, and it seems unfortunate, but it's just the way how it is within this within the industry at least right now. So I'm like, I don't know. They really need to kind of get their acts together. And it's funny how outside looking in, a lot of these people can examine these issues and stuff. But I don't know if the higher ups or the board members or whatever, they look at this mess and it's like, yeah, this is the way how the money has to go. And it's like some of us can see this stuff way down the line. It's like, dang, some of us outside, with some of us people that just know the street knowledge, at least in a high up position where it's like we take the street smarts we know and apply it to what they're saying right there. So just so when things happen to play out like this, it's like, hey, if you would have listened to me back then, we could have course corrected ourselves and like savage some of this where we're not losing millions, if not billions of dollars on this thing. No, hey, I'm just one person over here speaking on the podcast. I'm just saying out there, Sony. I'm just saying, Xbox, you might need to, open your scope of vision just a little bit more though. But I can keep going on and on about
Yeah,
this mess though. But I want to kind of keep it short and simple because we're almost running up on time, and we hadn't even talked about the big game that has kind of released within its demo state thus
yeah,
far.
it's the main thing, I guess.
Ugh. All right. Any other last second thoughts on that topic, Steven?
Gamescom is so boring. It honestly almost fucking put me to sleep, sir. Um, and also Indiana Jones is a waste of a game, in my opinion. Just make a movie.
All right. Well, yeah. So that's gonna do it for a Gamescom opening night live. Just for future reference in the future, only pay attention to Game Awards and as well as Summer Game Fest. That's where your meat and potatoes is going to be at. Opening night or Gamescom opening night live ain't all that. It's just mostly supposed to be out updates. That's the reason why I didn't watch the show from start to finish. I just kind of saw the cliff notes of everything though. But all right, that's going to basically do it in terms of all of our gaming news. So now let's go ahead and jump over to our last major segment for tonight, that being what you've been playing. All right, Steven. So I've been going through and playing at least a decent bit of stuff. But the one major focus we wanted to go through and talk about tonight, while yes, the game hasn't technically released yet, it is in a demo state where you're actually able to, as of the point of this recording right now on this live stream, there are currently the prologue, chapter 1 and chapter 2 available. And yes, I'm referring to Famicon Detective Club, Emio the Smiling Man. The cool thing about this demo is you're able to take your save progression over from the demo version and apply it to the full game where you buy it physically or digitally. Whenever you have access to the full game, you can just carry over that save progression. I love the way how demos do that nowadays. So now it's like
Yeah,
I can kind of get a head start right before launch, especially whenever games are getting, really busy in terms of like just releasing. Like it's stacking up between September,
Hmm.
October, November. So I'm glad if I can get a head start in any one of these games. I'm glad because Visions of Mana also comes out
especially
this week, and I'm glad I'm able to get a little head start up in it.
yeah, it's always a good thing because imagine you try, obviously for us the game isn't out yet. Imagine you like months down the line try a demo for Famicom Detective Club. You get to chapter 3 and then you have buy the full game because you like it so much and then you're back at chapter 1 and you got to mash through dialogue to get to chapter 3. And because of how this game is structured, you can't even mash through dialogue, so it's just going to be take a while, you know?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
It's like yeah, like more demos where the progress carries over should be a standard. The one that I remember seeing it, like the first one that I remember seeing it on Switch at least was the Dragon Quest 11 thing, and that was like 10 hours.
For me, that I think for me that was like 7-ish hours, but like that was like literally one of the best. I still argue to this day it's like one of the best demos you can play on the Nintendo Switch. And that demo is more of a game than most games are on the Nintendo Switch. They're like shorter than that hour frame, though. But I digress. But at least while I was going through and playing the opening few chapters, like the prologue isn't really that long. Kind of gets your foot in the door, and chapter 1, chapter 2 are a bit longer. And there's still going to be one more update, I think, on this upcoming Tuesday. So, like 2 days from now, or about to be only one since we're almost getting close to midnight right now. Um, on that Tuesday, that's going to be the last update, and it's going to give us access to chapter 3. And then the game comes out this week on the Thursday, though. So I like how they kind of staggered out some of these things in terms of the chapters. So it kind of eases people's foot in the door because let's face it, a lot of people aren't akin or familiar or really love visual novel games. More people are gonna like their shooters, their platformers, or just 3D games in general. Though now a lot of people are gonna go through and play games sitting down and watching stuff. But me being a big Ace Attorney fan and stuff, I love that mess. I played the first Famicom Detective Club game with the missing air. So I really do like visual novel games. I even picked up another Code Recollection recently, Steven, with
I
the
have that.
buy two get one free thing that was on Best Buy, which I think that deal is closing at the end of tonight though. But through
Yes.
that deal, I managed to pre-order slash buy 9 games already. So I'm covered. I'm covered for the rest of this year though with that deal. So I got like 3 games for free though. But I really do like visual novel games. So when I saw this, I was like, heck yes, I have to jump up in it. Visually, it's definitely a step or two better than the remaster or not remaster remake games for the first 2 games in the series because like the I would say the animation and stuff that they use in terms of like facial stuff, the way how they move their hands around as gestures and stuff, it's just a little bit more fluid than what it was in the
It's
remakes. Like, did you notice that too, Steven?
it's a little unnerving at first, I'll admit though.
It
Like
takes
the
a little
way that
getting used to because I
like
don't think
like
you
when I
played any game in the series,
my,
right?
no, I have not. But like, especially like when a character lifts their hand and you see the actual sprite fade in and out. Like, when someone moves their hand and it fades into the different sprite of the hand.
Mhm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
It
because
it it's weird, but like everything else, though, like there is a lot of stuff that looks pretty good. Like the hair moving looks is a good effect,
yeah, because at
and
least within most visual novels, you don't normally get that fluid animation like what you're kind of like
yeah,
halfway complaining about. Because most of the
yeah.
time,
I'm not, yeah.
look
It's
back at like
interesting.
old games at like the first Ace Attorney, like you barely get the mouth moving, and that's about it. And then if someone were to change their pose, it's literally changing from one PNG to the next. You don't get any of that fluid motion into
Yeah,
the next thing,
but I
which
think
I like in this one.
I think the unsettling nature of it is gonna work really well in the game's favor when it gets a bit darker, or when you're actually doing investigative stuff, because especially with like it's about a serial killer, just the unnerving like like slow movements, the like there you can see characters like breathing. It's interesting. Like, I don't know, I could only imagine the movements kind of being uncanny when it comes to like your villain characters, your smiling man. Which, by the way, for context, I beat the prologue. I'm like halfway through chapter 1. I'm talking to Dice, is what they nickname him. Okay, that's
Oh,
what he
okay.
nicknames himself. He's a he's a character.
Yeah, because at least where I'm at, I got through prologue chapter 1 and halfway through chapter 2. And I've been slowly pacing myself so that way I don't like hit the end and it's like you can't play no more. I hate that feeling. So I've been slowly
Yeah,
playing like every other day or just like a little bit of piece here and there though. But now it's like, okay, I can almost feel good about hitting the end of chapter 2 on Monday, knowing that I got chapter 3 available coming out on Tuesday though. So
yeah,
that's the way how I've been trying to go through and pace myself though. And I like how Apollo even said in the chat, he was like, it's crazy how scary some characters will run up into the screen so fast. Like it's sometimes the way how they visually kind of showcase off things that are happening in the background and how they kind of get brought up to the foreground, or the way how they
yeah.
play music in the background and just ultimately just stops out of nowhere, or
Oh,
like
the
you see the
music is
way
good.
people look around and stuff. Like there's different ways to kind of give you that little bit of a creepy atmosphere, which both the 2 remakes before this game also did as well. But I like how the way how it's also being enhanced just a little bit within this one game right here, though. So
Yeah,
you definitely have some of those moments, and I'm experiencing a couple of those moments in chapter 2. And like me, I love a good murder mystery and stuff, and that's essentially what you're doing in this game, though, because you got a killer out there on the loose. So I'm looking at every person that friend and foe alike. Well, I don't know if I ran into any foes yet, at least not yet. But I'm looking at everybody as a potential suspect. Like there's a few people that aren't gonna be it, and this ain't really spoilers or anything like that. If you know the series, like basically, oh gosh, what's the name of the character you actually play as? Whatever the main dude is, him,
I don't know. I named them
Tachi
myself. I
Bon,
named them
yeah.
Steven.
Oh, and I like how you just mentioned that. If you have save files, um, data from the first 2 games, it will notice that and it'll say, "Hey, do you want to still be called such and such?" So it still recognizes I still want to be called
Oh,
Megazard X or
and
Megazard. I
like
think is the way I named it. from Missing Air. So
Yeah,
I like little touches like that.
and these are the same main characters, right? The girl, Ayumi, and like your main character and the detective guy that runs the place. They're all from the first two.
Yeah. And
Okay,
oh wait, say that again.
like like the detective guy Utsugi or whatever, and like your main character and the girl
Yeah, no,
that
those
like you're
three.
reviewing your notes with. They're all from the original.
Yeah, they're all from the original. So you
Okay,
know all three of those are
yeah,
safe. You don't have to suspect that any one of those three would be like the culprit who's basically like the
yeah.
smiling man. Like, those three have been in this business in the past three games. So all three of those are safe. But basically almost anybody outside of those three could potentially be a suspect. Like I
Also,
wouldn't I wouldn't put it
the
past
fact
them.
that the fact that the original murders happened 18 years ago and our main character's 19.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, him and
Yeah,
Takibana are both 19. And which
yeah,
for some reason
and
I was thinking the girl was older. I don't know why I ever thought about that, but it was
no.
weird though. But no, they're both the same age.
So, as someone who doesn't know anything about visual novels, I can say this game surprised me with how I actually thought it was quite engaging. Especially, like the little, I guess, flashback where you see the girl crying in the rain, and then Emio walks up to her and kills her.
Oh yeah.
The animation actually did enhance that greatly. Like, I'm not saying animation's bad at all, trust me. It's just unnerving at first.
It takes
But
a
I think
little
I
bit of
got
getting
used to
used
it.
to. But
Yeah.
yeah, it
It
doesn't take too long.
it looks like those really uncanny animations where, they just take an image and they try to make an animation out of it. Um, it's fine. It works well, obviously. They make new poses, so it doesn't really stand out that bad. There were some times where, when I first started this game, I was like, "Wait, are these 3D models?" But no, they're not.
No, but I really
No.
just like the art style and stuff that the
Yeah.
game portrays and
It's
stuff.
got
It's just really nice.
it's got a lot of work put into it. It's got full Japanese voice acting from what I can tell. Like full, full.
Okay, hold on. I got to mention this
Um,
real quick. Nintendo, what are we doing over here? Nintendo, look at me in the eye right now. What the heck are we doing over here? I understand that this originally came from Japan. I understand that the first two games were originally on the Famicom. That made sense. And the fact that those were fully Japanese, that made perfect sense. I was going into this third game thinking, hey, we were still going to have Japanese audio as an option, but I thought we are going to introduce English voice acting as well. I would love to play a game that's fully English voice acting and get that same kind of experience and stuff that the Japanese people are getting over there, where they don't necessarily have to read everything. They can actually just listen to it and enjoy all the visual changes and stuff in terms of like, the artwork and stuff, what's going on in the background, the foreground, and all of this stuff though. But no, we're still over here with the Japanese audio stuff. It doesn't really bother me that much. But my expectation was thinking, oh, we might have possibly had this. And there was a little disclaimer if you did check the website that was there. Somehow I missed it. That's my only little hindrance or hiccup in the game. I still enjoy it. I'm used to the way how the first two play, but that was like my only little dog bone I had to pick with you, Nintendo. All right, all right, all right. I had to get that
yeah,
off my chest.
I for one like the whole thing about, it's almost like a puzzle when you're talking to somebody. Like, which options you have to pick. Like sometimes, you have to think and then you have to listen to them ask questions.
Oh, you said they had to think and ask
Like searching
questions.
for clues. Yeah, like a character will be like, "Oh, where have I seen you before?" And then the answer is to look at them closer, and then you recognize them.
Yeah, because that
Like
that was one
it's
thing I was
clever
gonna
in the
ask you.
puzzle solving, I guess.
Yeah, that was one thing I was gonna ask you is because the way how this game plays is definitely not like an Ace Attorney or whatever though. Like sometimes you have to hit those menu options like two, three, sometimes even four times before you get all the information out of one statement before they say something else,
Yeah,
and then
there's
you
a
have to
lot of
go to
dialogue.
thinking and stuff, and it's like it's almost puzzle solving in like all your interactions with whoever you happen to be talking with.
Yeah, that's what I like so far. It's a lot of puzzle solving and a lot of dialogue. I like seeing all the different dialogue options, even if I eventually, even if it flows me back into the main one, seeing all the optional ones is funny. Like when I stare at somebody and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you looking at?"
Yeah.
And there's also when you receive the cell phone, if you immediately try calling your coworker, she's like, "I'm right here. Why are you calling me?"
Oh shoot, I didn't even get that thing because I didn't even try that. Oh,
You
that's
can
funny.
call the office as well, like the office you work in, and you'll just hear the phone ringing in the background, and she'll be like, "I know it's you."
That's funny. I
You
didn't
can
even
also
think about
you can
doing
call
that.
yeah, you can call your boss to just test out the phone as well. And then I don't know if you've seen this, in the cell phone menu, you can dial any number you want. If you walk into the police station, you can actually dial the number that's on one of the posters, which is like the Japanese equivalent for 911.
Hmm.
And if you dial that number, a police officer answers the phone and says, uh, prank calls are punishable by death.
Yeah, actually. Oh wait, Steven, can you hear me? Steven.
Hello.
All right, now you can hear me. I think my internet dipped for like a split
You
second.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I was just saying about the notebook. I like how the notebook not only keeps track of all the info you learn about characters, but all of the interactions between different characters as well. Like, I
Hmm.
met that one. You meet this one police officer. You recognize her from a previous case that gets filled into the book. Like, it seems like everything is going to be filled into that book. I liked this game a lot more than I thought, and I'm probably going to get it.
Now you said you always were gonna get it, like
But
especially at
like,
launch, like
I was
pick it
just,
up
well,
physical, but I didn't know
yeah,
if you're
I
gonna
was
get
gonna
around to playing it at launch.
exactly. I think I'm gonna get around to playing it sooner. Not at launch because I'm gonna be on vacay, but like I will get to it sooner rather than
Oh yeah,
later.
because you're gonna leave right before the game releases, which you
Yes.
say you're gonna get it physical, correct?
Yeah, but I can't pre-order it because I'm not gonna be home to pick it up.
Oh yeah, that's true. And you don't want it to arrive on your doorstep while you're actually out of town. So that
No.
doesn't make sense. So you just hold off on
No.
it.
So yeah, the game looks cool
Ooh, yeah.
and it plays fun. I like all the art. I like I'm not Japanese, but I can appreciate full voice acting, obviously still.
Does breathe a little more life into it versus, just having like basic Ace Attorney 1 or something and it's
Yeah.
just nothing but like a bunch of
And
text typing or something that's kind of going
yeah.
across the screen and
And
you
we
don't get
need
that emotional attachment as much.
yeah, we need Nintendo to realize we want darker games. We want games with darker themes. The opening where you see all those like screenshots, a couple of them look like real life screenshots mixed in. It's
Oh yeah,
scary.
yeah.
It's
Hey,
like wait, what the fuck is happening? I
hey,
thought in my
Steven,
head.
they ain't ready for that rated M Metroid Prime 4. I'm telling y'all, man.
I
For
would
the
love
Switch
that.
2.
I would love to
They
see
ain't they ain't, they
I
ain't
would
ready
love
for it.
yeah, I would love to see like Ridley or whoever's in that game just rip apart people.
Yeah. No, they got to bring my boy Ridley back. They got to bring him back because he wasn't in Dread. So bring that man back. But
Well, he
overall,
wasn't in Dread because he's dead.
yeah, I know. That's why I said he wasn't in Dread. So I said bring that man back. It makes sense for the
He can
Prime
definitely
series.
come back.
But yeah, so overall, I really did love my time with Emio and stuff. And this is just kind of like our raw impressions over the first few hours, or the first few hours. Well, technically, it's the first few hours, but the first few chapters of the game thus far. And we may follow it up in the next episode if if our mood. I don't think our thoughts on it will drastically change. Maybe we'll add a little bit of something to add a little bit more information to it if something else happens a little later in the game. But obviously, we won't talk about spoilers because that's the whole point of this game is the story aspect of it, though. So if
Yeah.
there's something drastic that kind of changes the gameplay more so, then we'll kind of cover it a little bit more in the next episode, though. But at least now we kind of got ahead of the schedule now, so we're actually able to get our thoughts on this because um, in terms of, like all the future games that are coming up here, I believe by the time we have our next podcast episode, actually, hold on, let me pull up a calendar, Steven.
Astrobot.
What
Astrobot will be
Astrobot
out.
will be out by then? Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, Astrobot will be out within
Wait,
two
what
weeks.
what day does Astrobot come out? Does it come out on the
September
fifth?
6th.
Oh, the 6th.
Yeah, it's 11 days.
Oh shoot. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So we'll have to talk about that. I think the Miles Edgeworth duology will be out by then, and also Visions of
Really?
Mana comes out this point. Yeah. It. I think the Miles Edgeworth stuff it
Uh,
comes out in like the first
fucking
week of September.
2024, man. Yeah, at least for me, I'm busy getting through Dragon Quest 11 slowly, so I will be stuck with that.
Yeah. It's just too much coming out right now. It's just too much.
And I got you.
I was trying to see the actual
Uh,
release date for it though, because I was like, I had that missed down, written down somewhere though, but I believe I'm doggone it. I was trying to skip to an end
I
of a
don't have
trailer.
it. Yeah.
Come on, Capcom, give me this release date. Okay, here we
Yeah,
go. Wait, what the heck? Tune in the official website. What the dang it? I was just come on. This is annoying me. Oh shoot! I know it's the first week of September. I'm like, what the heck? It shouldn't be this hard for me to jump around and find a stinking release date for this thing.
just look up the name of the game.
Well, this is why I thought I had you here for duology. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't punch in the release date. Okay. Okay. Uh, see, I like how I punched in that stupid. Okay. Okay. I punched it in at first and said it came out December 21st, 2017. I was like, no, that's the original one on the DS, I think. But no, September 6th is whenever the game is coming out. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll be able to talk about potentially that game. We'll be able to talk about Astrobot, and I have to talk about Visions of Mana because that comes out this Thursday, along with maybe a little bit of extra information for Famicon Detective Club and the Missing Heir. See, that's why these demos are so important. And I like how they actually gave us a demo for the Miles Edgeworth duology, so I can actually jump in and get a little head start on that game as well. But it's like only the first chapter of both the games, but I hadn't played either one of the games, so really I can only play one chapter of the first game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, getting demos is always really cool.
Yeah, so it's about to get crazy. So next
Yeah.
2 weeks we're gonna be talking about four different games that we all been playing.
And
Steven,
maybe a Nintendo Direct. Who
ah,
knows?
maybe, maybe, maybe. I don't know. It kind of all depends though. But yeah, outside of that, honestly, I just been playing Splatoon 3 because oh shoot, Steven, when does the Splatoon 3 Grand Fest thing happen? Like what date is that?
Around the 12th to the 15th, or maybe 15th to 18th. It's not for like another 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. So it won't be by the time we have our next episode. It'll be two
No,
episodes from now.
it'll be
Okay, so
after
we
it.
still
Yeah,
we
it'll
still
be
got
after
time.
the next
We still
episode.
got time on that one. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Oh shoot, yeah. Y'all see what we're talking about now? It's just getting a little wild up in here
Too
though.
much stuff coming out, and then Echoes of Wisdom's coming out like after this wave.
Shoot, yeah. So, ooh,
All right.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad that buy two get one free deal thing happened with Best Buy because I saved myself quite a bit of money with that mess.
yeah. At least
Mm.
for me, I just like getting my games physical. I got it all from GameStop. I like going to pick them up.
Yeah, I set all my stuff up. Like some games, like DKC Returns, it's like, oh, if I already played and owned the game, or like the older version of it, hey, you can ship that mess to my house. I ain't too cracked up about getting or picking it up and playing it on day of launch. But other games, it's like, yeah, I like going to my actual store and picking them up and stuff. So I'm hopefully my Visions of Mana comes in on time because I got with it being like a collector's edition, we're talking about higher than $200 worth. I got to do an unboxing video. I might put a couple of good soundtracks up on the YouTube channel because I'm just probably gonna make a habit of doing that for I'm just probably gonna get a habit of just putting up a couple of good tracks from limited edition stuff that I like on my channel or whatever. Though, so I might do that, and then obviously we got to talk about it maybe in the video or obviously in the podcast stuff. So we're getting in that busy season. It's gonna be fun for the next 6 or 7 episodes. So yeah, just get used to me and Steven talking about new games every episode though. But I think that's
Yeah,
basically gonna do it in terms of all the podcast topics we have for tonight though. So Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
you can find me on Twitter at Steven Jr. 1231, or you can find me on a collab channel I do with some friends, Spaghetti Disco. It's called.
Alrighty, so that's gonna basically do it for this episode, though. But if you happen to be one of our visual watchers here for the podcast, so make sure to go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell. That way you never stay that way you stay up to date on all things video game related. I feel like talking about and discussing. If you happen to be one of our audio listeners, whether you be listening via like YouTube Music or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Yes, you can even listen to me in the car via like iHeartRadio and stuff. Make sure to go ahead and leave like a written review or star review, whatever the platform allows you to do, and just let people know we're just a couple dudes that love talking about pop culture stuff and gaming news and everything else in between, though. And for some reason, if you made it all the way to the end of the show, though, I know you're probably like one of my closer diehard fans or whatever, though, those that really like to support me and stuff. I know the past week I didn't drop any videos out on my channel whatsoever. I took like a little mini vacation for me though. So obviously with the start of this podcast moving forward though, I'm back from my break. So you'll normally expect the regular videos for collection reflections on Tuesdays and my regular weekly Friday videos and stuff. That will start back up. So that's just a little bit of mini update on that. If you happen to stick around to the very tail end, I really appreciate y'all. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 86. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next podcast episode. I can't even talk now. My next podcast episode, that being my episode 87. I'll see y'all later.